Chapter 346. In the backstage trading room of the auction house, Xia Pingan took out 46 rolls of gold coins. Each roll had 50 gold coins and each roll weighed more than 2 kilograms. It was very heavy. The 46 rolls of gold coins were piled up on the table. They were heavier than an adult's body. This was the value of a rare realm pearl. The gold coins piled up together were heavier than a person. Ordinary people could only shrink back at the sight of it. The gold notes of the Shang dynasty could also be used in Yushan. However, Xia Pingan did not have many gold notes on him, so he directly used gold coins to pay. After the staff of the auction house checked the authenticity of the 46 gold coins and confirmed that there was no problem with the gold coins, a hardwood box was placed in front of him. "Sir, this is the realm pearl that you bought." Xia Pingan opened the box. Inside the box was the realm pearl Haoyang's debate. He nodded and put the box away. "Sir, do you need to change your clothes and leave through the special passage of the auction house?" "There's no need to go through the special passage. Where's your changing room?" "I'll just change my clothes." "All right, sir, please follow me. All the clothes and jewelry in our changing room can be sold. Sir, if you like anything, you can wear it directly. If you need it, we will also provide hairdressers and makeup artists to tailor your style." As he spoke, the auction house staff directly brought Xia Pingan to a large changing room. The changing room was filled with all kinds of men's clothes and hats. There were all kinds of styles and there were hundreds of them. These clothes were for the convenience of the people who bought the items. They could change their clothes here and go out without being recognized by others in the auction house. This was the characteristic of the Rock King auction house in Yushan. Everything was considered for the customers. The auction house even sold department stores, beauty and makeup. It was a complete service. However, this also showed that Yushan was not an ordinary chaotic place. After revealing one's wealth, it was better to be careful. Xia Pingan only changed into a new set of clothes and hat in the changing room. After paying, he did not use any special passage and left the auction house through the exit. The sky outside had completely darkened. Other than the square outside the auction house that was still lit up, there were no street lights anywhere else. Xia Pingan did not stand out at all when he walked out of the auction house. He blended into the crowd and left the auction house. After leaving the square, Xia Pingan quickened his pace and soon came to a sparsely populated alley. The flame rhinoceros waved at Xia Pingan from the alley. "That Turi didn't use the auction house's special passage," Flame Rhinoceros said softly as soon as she saw Xia Pingan. "Where will he go?" Xia Pingan asked. "There's a high chance that he'll return to Morality Castle." The refined temperament on Xia Pingan's body suddenly disappeared. His killing intent suddenly overflowed and his eyes shot out a cold light. He only said 7 words straightforwardly: "Find a place and kill him." Upon hearing Xia Pingan's words, Yan Shi smiled. It was exactly what he wanted. "I've chosen a place. We can go there and wait for him to come to us." "Then let's go." Flame Rhinoceros grabbed Xia Pingan and sank into the ground, disappearing in an instant. Just as Xia Pingan left the Rock King auction house, Turi, one of the 4 great warriors of the Morality Gang, walked out of the auction house with a few of his followers. Turi's hair was tied up in small braids. His eyes were like copper bells, his big nose and big mouth were like a lion's mouth. He also had a face full of hair. At first glance, he looked quite intimidating. There were 2 black horse carriages outside the auction house. When they saw Turi coming out, the 2 black horse carriages drove over. Turi got into one of the carriages while his followers got into the other. The 2 horse carriages then left the auction house and headed east. The 2 horse carriages were not slow. It did not take long for them to pass through the night of Yushan City and reach the outskirts of the city. Secluded Mountain City was located in a huge basin in a mountain range. Inside the city, it was bustling. Outside the city, different powers had their own territories. Many places were cold and desolate, and there were barely any people at night. The road from Yushan City to the Morality Gang's territory had to pass through a huge forest of giant fir trees and a mountain path. The lanterns on the 2 horse carriages had been lit up long ago. They swayed on the horse carriages as they illuminated the road in front of the horse carriages. Traveling through the forest of giant fir trees at night, the sound of the horses' hooves was especially crisp. Just as the horse carriages entered the depths of the forest of giant fir trees, dozens of arrows, a large number of icicles, and fireballs suddenly flew over. They were as fast as lightning and instantly hit the 2 horse carriages. The 2 horse carriages screamed in pain. Their bodies were pierced by a few arrows, and they rolled down from the horse carriages. The 4 horses pulling the horse carriages were also hit by the arrows. They neighed and their bodies turned black. Their legs gave way and they fell onto the road. As for the 2 carriages behind the horse carriages, they were the focus of attention. Dozens of icicles and fireballs instantly smashed the 2 carriages into pieces. When the horse carriage that Tuli's servants were in was smashed into pieces, the servants had already flown out of the horse carriages. 2 of the servants pulled out their swords and turned in the air. They stepped on the air and dived into the forest like eagles, showing that they were not weak martial artists. A large group of werewolf warriors rushed out of the forest of giant fir trees. They growled in a low voice and pounced towards the horse carriages. 2 of the servants flashed with the brilliance of water shields. While protecting themselves, they also released fireballs and ignited the bodies of the 2 werewolf warriors that rushed out of the forest. There was also a summoner who summoned a group of elite slave soldiers to surround himself. At the same time, he faced the incoming werewolf warriors. **Stards!" Tully roared. With a loud rumble, he charged out of the burning carriage like a ferocious tiger. His body was surrounded by a flashing blue water shield. He coldly glared at the charging demonic wolf warriors with a murderous look on his face. "You demonic wolf trash! How dare you target me? You must be tired of living." After saying that, Tuli stomped his foot and a large area of light shone under the feet of the demonic wolf warriors. In just one move, more than 10 demonic wolf warriors were frozen. Then he waved his hand and summoned 2 flaming tigers. As soon as the flaming tigers were summoned, they pounced towards the frozen demonic wolf warriors and turned them into ashes in an instant. A red-haired demonic wolf mage rushed out of the forest and was immediately targeted by Tuli. Tuli waved his hand and sent several fireballs flying towards the demonic wolf mage. Just as the demonic wolf mage used his water shield to block the fireballs, Tuli's figure flashed like lightning and arrived beside the demonic wolf mage. His hands flickered with golden light as they passed through the water shield and grabbed the demonic wolf mage's neck. With a roar, he directly twisted the demonic wolf mage's head off. The demonic wolf mage's spine was separated from his head, revealing the bloody spine on his neck. It was very frightening. At the same time, 2 wisps of black mist suddenly drilled out from the ground beneath the 2 summoners and engulfed them. Without a sound, the 2 summoners' flesh and blood fell down like melted candles. Their skeletons also collapsed with a clatter behind the 2 black mists. A demonic wolf mage with 2 heads emerged from the black mist. Then, the black mist turned into a long whip and lashed towards Tuli. Bone-corroding smoke. Tuli's expression changed. He quickly retreated and waved his hand to summon 50 armored warriors. Some warriors blocked in front of him while others rushed towards the demonic wolf warriors. The summoned warriors in front of Tuli instantly turned into light and dissipated when they were touched by the black mist whip. The whip made of black smoke was unstoppable, but it was like a black snake in the air. With a twist of its body, the whip split into 2 whips. The extra whip changed direction and coiled around the other warrior follower of Tuli. That martial artist had just killed a demon wolf warrior, but before he could retreat, he was entangled by that whip of black smoke. With a crash, his flesh and blood fell apart like wax, leaving behind a bloody skeleton that was still moving forward a few steps due to inertia. Then, a demon wolf warrior smashed his body with a mace, and with a crash, he was reduced to powder and fragments. Chapter 347. The fight in the giant fir forest was fierce and fierce. In the blink of an eye, in just a few breaths of time, Tu Lai only had one martial artist as his follower left. Moreover, that martial artist was instantly surrounded by more than a dozen demon wolf warriors. Those demon wolf warriors fearlessly rushed towards that warrior follower. All kinds of weapons in their hands, such as crossbows and swords, were thrown towards that warrior follower. Although the martial artist's follower wasn't weak, he wasn't strong either. After killing 3 demon wolf warriors, he was shot in the thigh by a crossbow arrow. As he staggered, a demon wolf warrior rushed over and stabbed the martial artist's chest with its saber. It bit the martial artist's neck and flesh, tearing apart the martial artist's throat and windpipe. Blood spurted out from the martial artist's neck and chest as he fell to the ground. Then 2 wolf-tooth maces smashed into the martial artist's head and chest at the same time. The martial artist's head and chest were smashed into meat paste, and he died. Turi was entangled by that 2-headed demon wolf mage. He could only watch as his warrior follower fell. At this time, a large group of demon wolf warriors rushed towards Turi. "You all deserve to die." Turi grinned nastily as he dodged the bone-eroding wolf smoke's whip. His fists flashing with golden light fiercely smashed the ground. Swish! In an instant, with Turi as the center, countless metal spikes suddenly shot out from the ground in a 100-meter radius. The effect was like stepping into a trap full of spikes. Ah! A group of ferocious demonic wolf warriors screamed miserably. Their bodies were instantly pierced through and nailed to the ground like skewers of meat. The demonic wolf warriors had their intestines and stomachs pierced through. From their feet to their stomachs, from their stomachs to their necks, they were pierced through by the metal spike. Blood gushed out, and the ground within a radius of 100 meters instantly turned blood-red, carrying the stench of demonic wolf blood. The 2-headed demon wolf mage entangled with Turi suddenly turned into smoke and leapt up, avoiding the spikes that shot out from the ground. Turi wanted to chase after him, but when he passed by a tall fir tree, his expression suddenly changed. A black shadow suddenly appeared from the trunk of that tall fir tree that required 10 people to wrap their arms around. The shadow held a black blade in its hand, and as fast as lightning, it directly slashed towards Turi's neck. Its speed was unbelievably fast. By the time Turi noticed it, the black blade and the shadow were less than a meter away from his neck. Turi roared. In an instant, a water shield, an ice shield, a fire shield, and a metal shield appeared around him. The 4 shields revolved around his body, protecting him. However, the black shadow and the black blade in its hand was like a hot knife through butter. The black blade's blade suddenly emitted a brilliant light. The black blade. As the blade and the black shadow went straight for Turi's head. In the nick of time, a bronze metal token suddenly appeared in Turi's hand. That token was covered in lightning runes. Turi activated the token. A dazzling ball of lightning suddenly blossomed from Turi's hand. In an instant, the forest of giant fir trees seemed to have become the center of a thunderstorm. Dazzling white chain lightning spread out like a shockwave with Turi as the center. The air of the forest was filled with flashing lightning. The black shadow holding the black blade rushed to Turi's side and was about to behead him. The nearby demon wolf mage, and the skewered demon wolf warriors on the ground were all within the range of the lightning shockwave. The bodies of the demonic wolf warriors that were skewered on the ground were instantly charred, their fur disappearing. The demonic wolf warriors that were still alive and struggling were also electrocuted into charcoal. A muffled groan came from Tuli's side. The shadow holding the black blade dissipated, revealing a white-furred demonic wolf with 2 wolf heads. the white-furred demonic wolf turned into a streak of bloody light and fiercely pierced through a giant fir tree. The chain lightning struck the trunk of the giant fir tree and directly blasted it apart. Like a thunderbolt, the giant fir tree caught on fire. Using the cover of the giant fir tree, the two-headed white-furred demonic wolf turned into a streak of bloody light and quickly fled. However, it also spat out 7 or 8 mouthfuls of blood. The other two-headed demon wolf mage wasn't so lucky. The two-headed magic wolf mage wanted to retreat, but his speed was not as fast as lightning. The frightening lightning bolt shattered the bone-eroding smoke whip in the hands of the two-headed magic wolf mage, and a sharp lightning bolt directly shattered one of the heads of the two-headed magic wolf mage. The two-headed magic wolf mage let out a blood-curdling scream and fell from the sky. The body of the two-headed magic wolf mage was instantly annihilated by the lightning bolt, losing all signs of life. After the fierce and dazzling lightning shockwave, Turi was the only one left standing in the forest of fir trees, gasping for breath. The ground around him was filled with charred corpses of demon wolves. Not a single living person could be seen. A huge fir tree was burning and smoke was rising from the ground. The ground within several hundred meters was charred black without any signs of life, as if it had been plowed by cannonballs and flames. The token that brought the terrifying lightning bolt turned into silver sand and fell from Turi's fingers, scattering on the ground. Puff! Turi's body swayed and his face turned pale. He also spat out a mouthful of blood. The final surprise attack of the two-headed demon wolf mage and the 5 Thunders talisman that he had crushed at the critical moment still injured Turi. Turi's eyes were fixed on the other side of Yushan City. Between his blood-stained lips, he spat out 3 words, Fire Dragon Pavilion. In Turi's opinion, this assassination was definitely set up by the Fire Dragon Pavilion who had bribed the wandering demon wolves. The demon wolves that attacked tonight were all unfamiliar faces, especially the two-headed demon wolf mage. He had a powerful magic weapon of the demon wolf clan in his hand. He had never appeared in Yushan before. Such a demon wolf mage would not be a nameless figure among the demon wolves. He would not have ambushed Turi for no reason. He could only have been instructed by someone else. Turi could not think of anyone else besides the Fire Dragon Pavilion who had instructed him. After panting for a while, Turi's complexion gradually improved. After the fierce battle ended, he also relaxed. Turi glanced at the scene full of corpses. This was not a place to stay for long. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, something strange happened again. A terrifying chill suddenly and violently erupted from the ground, freezing his feet and the ground. The terrifying chill continued to spread from his feet to Turi's body. Turi's expression changed abruptly. He wanted to jump up, but because of that terrifying chill, his movements were always a little slower. Then, a sharp cold light flew out from the ground under his feet. Its speed was faster than lightning as it swept up from the ground. Turi's body stiffened. He did not even make a sound before his body was cut in half. Crash! The items in Turi's spatial equipment exploded all over the ground. Rolling gold coins, realm pearls, and all kinds of strange things covered the ground as if a truck had tipped over its contents. 2 figures drilled out of the ground like smoke. With a wave of his hand, Xia Pingon collected all the items that had dropped from Tully's body. At the same time, Flame Rhinoceros threw a fireball. The fireball burned on the ground, burning the 2 halves of Turi's body into charcoal and destroying the terrifying traces of ice on the ground. Xia Pingon shouted in a low voice, "Let's go!" Flame Rhinoceros did not say anything and grabbed Xia Pingon. The 2 figures turned into black smoke and sank into the ground, disappearing in the blink of an eye. From killing Turi to leaving, the entire process took less than a second. The giant fir forest was silent. Apart from the corpses on the ground, there was no other sound. In the distance, in the giant fir forest, the 2-headed white-furred demonic wolf that was running wildly while vomiting blood suddenly stopped. Its white fur was scorched by the lightning. It turned its two heads abruptly, its 4 eyes flashing with bloody light. It looked at the place where the battle had just taken place with an incredulous gaze. On the skin of the two-headed white-furred demonic wolf's chest, the blood imprint of his family's vengeance curse was burning hot and resonating with his bloodline spirit. The reaction of the curse imprint came from a member of his family. As far as he knew, that member of his family was very ambitious. He had left Yuanqiu a year ago and entered the secondary plane to fight. That member of his family was his junior. But just now, he sensed that the vengeance curse imprint left behind by that member of his family had appeared at the place where he had just fought with Turi. What was going on? The vengeance curse of the demonic wolf clan would never be wrong. This was the unique bloodline ability of the demonic wolf clan. Why would the vengeance curse of the demonic wolf clan member, who had left Yuanqiu and entered the secondary plane, appear here? The two-headed white-furred demonic wolf stood in the giant fir forest. Its 4 eyes flashed and gradually became strange and profound. After a while, the two-headed demonic wolf suddenly turned around and left the giant fir forest in a flash. Half an hour later, a group of people flew over from the east and arrived at the place where Turi had died. Fire Dragon Pavilion, a furious roar came from the giant fir forest. At about the same time, Xia Pingon and Flame Rhinoceros had safely returned to the hotel room that Xia Pingon had rented. As soon as they arrived, Xia Pingon waved his hand and the entire room was covered by his silence barrier. That was close. I didn't expect that Turi to have the 5 Thunders talisman. Flame Rhinoceros sat on a chair and let out a long sigh. Chapter 348. As one of the 4 great guardian warriors of the Morality Gang, it's not surprising that Tu Lai has something that can save his life. Fortunately, those magic wolves helped us step on the mines, saving us a lot of effort. As Xia Pingon spoke, he recalled the terrifying chain of lightning that burst out from Tu Lai's hand. He was a little shocked. The 5 Thunder Talisman was a rune master's technique. Xia Pingon was also a rune master, but he had not mastered the divine rune to summon thunder and lightning. When he saw that kind of talisman, he could only admire it in his heart. Xia Pingon secretly thought that when he mastered the divine rune of thunder, he would definitely make a bunch of thunder talismans to save his life. Those things were simply too useful. This is the problem that assassins and killers will face when they take action. Unexpected assassinations and actions can seize the best opportunity. Sometimes they can catch the opponent off guard and achieve the greatest result. However, at the same time, due to insufficient information preparation, this kind of assassination sometimes faces a higher action risk because you don't know what trump cards the opponent has yet to reveal. Flame Rhinoceros commented with a professional view and shook his head. By the way, what kind of celestial device was that black saber in the hands of the 2-headed magic wolf sorcerer? It was so powerful that it broke through Tu Lai's 4 summon shields in one strike and almost killed Tu Lai. On that celestial device, there was the shadow of a golden 3-headed magic wolf? Xia Pingon asked curiously. You haven't seen that thing before? Flaming Rhino looked at Xia Pingon strangely. What's so strange about that? I just came to the Yuanqiu world not long ago. It's normal that I don't know about it. Xia Pingon shrugged. That black saber should be a high-level celestial device. In fact, it can already be regarded as a soul device. Soul device? What's that? The foundation of a soul device is also a celestial device made by a casting master. Some people also regard a soul device as a high-level celestial device, but the difference is that a soul device is generally used by high-level summoners and sorcerers. After a high-level sorcerer infuses his own spirit into it, the celestial device becomes a soul device and becomes more powerful. It has some strange abilities and even has its own consciousness. The saber used by Yao Dao of the Shadow Guard of the Judgment Army is also a soul device. Depending on the spirit that is infused into the celestial device, there are sacred devices and divine devices above soul devices. These are all rare treasures. Flaming Rhino licked his lips, greed and envy flashing in his eyes. The origin of that two-headed white-haired sorcerer might not be ordinary. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a thing in his hands. Why don't we find an opportunity to kill that two-headed white-haired sorcerer and snatch his soul device? Then we'll be rich. Flaming Rhino was really not a decent person. All he thought about was killing people and plundering. However, there was another piece of information in Flaming Rhino's words that piqued Xia Pingan's interest. What are the sacred devices and divine devices you mentioned? Are they also higher-level celestial devices? A celestial device infused with spirit by a demigod summoner of the Ten-Sun realm can be nurtured into a sacred device. A celestial device infused with spirit by a deity can be nurtured into a divine device. These two things have great power. What stage can a summoner create a soul device? It's not that easy for a summoner to create a soul device. Splitting one's own spirit and injecting it into the celestial device might cause one to die or become crippled. Flaming Rhino shook his head. As far as I know, there were some 3 Sun Realm or 4 Sun Realm summoners who wanted to create a soul device for themselves, but they didn't end well. Those people ended up either going crazy or becoming stupid. Some even died. Only high-level summoners can create a soul device. Generally, only those above the 7 Sun Realm can do it. Xia Pingan stroked his chin, revealing an interested expression. Can a 3 Sun Realm or 4 Sun Realm do it? It doesn't sound difficult? Flaming Rhino was shocked, and his expression changed. Don't tell me you want to do it yourself. Then can I trouble you to undo the sealing technique for me before you do it? Otherwise, if something goes wrong with your head and you go crazy or become stupid, then I'll be in trouble. You haven't told me how to do it. I'm in the 5 Sun Realm now, why wouldn't I know how to do it? Xia Pingan asked. As long as you learn the soul-splitting secret technique, you'll be able to create soul artifacts. Where can I learn this secret technique? The soul-splitting secret technique was originally a secret technique of the Dream Spirit Church. Many summoners can learn it, but tens of thousands of years ago, the Dream Spirit Church suddenly fell into decline, and the orthodox inheritance of the soul-splitting secret technique was lost. However, there are still a few summoners who know it. If you're lucky enough to meet one of these summoners, you'll be able to learn it. I heard that the Dream Spirit Church has some ruins and shrines in the Void Secret Realms that contain the inheritance of the soul-splitting secret technique. Oh, so that's how it is? Xia Pingan nodded, and then asked curiously, right? Didn't Tuli kill a few demon wolf wizards tonight? Why didn't they drop a realm pearl? Demon wolves don't drop realm pearls. Generally speaking, only demon wolf wizards who enter subplanes will drop realm pearls. Only demon wolf wizards who enter subplanes will drop realm pearls. Yes, but I don't know why that's the case. It might involve the secrets of the gods. Xia Pingan muttered to himself for a moment, and then glanced at Flaming Rhino. With a wave of his hand, he took out the box containing the realm pearl and divine sense crystal that he'd obtained from Tuli's body. Without even looking at it, he threw it into Flaming Rhino's hand. Here, this is for you. It should increase your divine power by a few points. Flaming Rhino was stunned when he took the box that Xia Pingan had thrown to him. He never thought that Xia Pingan would give him a share of the spoils. This was a rare realm pearl. This is for me? Flaming Rhino couldn't believe it. What, if you don't want it, then give it to me. Xia Pingan pursed his lips and reached out to take it. Flaming Rhino jumped up and took a few steps back at lightning speed. A strange smile appeared on his face. Of course I want it, of course I want it. I just didn't think that I would get a share of it. What a joke. When a summoner's cultivation reached this level, They could only improve by relying on rare realm pearls. Only a fool would refuse a rare realm pearl that was already in his hands. Sealing is one thing. That's because you wanted to kill me. You deserve it. Even if I kill you, you have to accept your fate. But work is work. Under my command, if you do a good job, you'll naturally be rewarded. I won't let those who help me suffer. Xia Pingan shrugged. All right, if there's nothing else, you may leave. Also, keep an eye on me. I'm going to fuse with the realm pearl tonight. Flaming Rhino nodded. He was afraid that Xia Pingan would go back on his word. He instantly turned into a cloud of black smoke, burrowed into the ground, and disappeared. As soon as Flaming Rhino left, Xia Pingan summoned the Black Dragon to guard the room. Then, he began to check the spoils of war tonight. Tu Lai had about 100,000 gold coins on him. In addition to the gold coins, there were some Shinli Dan and other miscellaneous items. But the most important thing was Tu Lai's realm pearls. Tu Lai's realm pearls weren't just the two he had bought at the auction house tonight. There were more than 20 of them. Those 20 realm pearls were all placed in boxes specially used for collecting realm pearls. Xia Pingan was a little excited. He rubbed his hands and opened the boxes one by one to take a look. A divine realm pearl returned to its original state. It's already been fused. Xia Pingan opened the first box. He glanced at the realm pearl inside and put the box aside. Gongsun E-repelling fish. This realm pearl has also been fused. Xia Pingan opened the second box. Path-seeking realm pearl, an old horse knows the way. This one has also been fused. Sing Zi slaughtering pig. Truth realm pearl. This one has also been fused. Yang Che Wang Fu. This realm pearl is Playboy's favorite. Beauty realm pearl has also been fused. Song Jie's realm pearl has also been fused. Most of the realm pearls in those boxes had already been fused by Xia Pingan. However, when Xia Pingan was halfway through, a black box opened. Xia Pingan's eyes suddenly lit up. Inside the black box lay a black realm pearl. Inside the black realm pearl, there was a sizzling electric light flashing. Amidst the electric light, there were 3 golden words in Xiaozhuan. King Wui. Seeing the 3 words and the electric light flashing in the realm pearl, Xia Pingan's heart skipped a beat. He thought to himself, it can't be so coincidental, right? In addition to this realm pearl, there was also a letter in the box. Xia Pingan picked up the letter and read it. Brother Tu Lai Jun Jian. After we parted at the Great Dragon Mountain last time, half of the matter entrusted to me by Brother Tu Lai has been settled. I came across this Divine Thunder Realm Pearl in the Tianmen market and bought it. The Divine Thunder Realm Pearl is really rare, and the corresponding Divine Thought Crystal is even rarer. Brother, after obtaining this Divine Thunder Realm Pearl, you must not be greedy and rush to fuse it. You should know that although the Divine Thunder is strong, if this Realm Pearl is not compatible with the Divine Thought Crystal, almost no one can succeed in fusing it rashly, and nearly half of those who fail will die. Hurry is a taboo in the cultivation of summoners. After Venerable Five Thunder, whom Brother envies, obtained a Divine Thunder Realm Pearl, he also patiently searched for more than 20 years before he found the corresponding Divine Thought Crystal for this Realm Pearl. As a result, after fusing it together, he gained the title of Venerable Five Thunder. Now that the Demon Gate is wide open, the Void's secret realms are beginning to appear. All kinds of rare realm pearls and Divine Thought Crystals will definitely appear. Brother, wait patiently until you obtain the corresponding Divine Thought Crystal and fuse with this Divine Thunder Realm Pearl. At that time, Brother will be able to summon the Divine Thunder, and your strength will definitely rise to another level. In addition, Brother has already received the news of the Runemaster Realm Pearl's Divine Thought Crystal that Brother wants last time, but I was a step late and was taken away by someone. However, Brother has recently found out the whereabouts of the person who bought the Runemaster Realm Pearl. If I can buy it from that person, Brother will send it to Brother. This letter was signed with only the 2 words, Brother Yu. It seemed that it was sent by a person who called Tu Lai his brother and had the word Yu in his name. Moreover, from this letter, Xia Pingan also saw Tu Lai's ambition to become a runemaster and master the divine thunder summoning. This ambition might have been aroused by the venerable 5 thunder mentioned in the letter. Unfortunately for Tu Lai, even if he had the divine thunder realm pearl, he still had to wait for the corresponding divine thought crystal to summon the divine thunder. Chapter 349. The moment Xia Pingan opened his eyes, he realized that he was walking on a bustling street. The street was bustling with people and carriages. The buildings on the street had upturned eaves and arches. Listening to the people on the street, he could hear a thick Hunan accent in their word. It felt very intimate. In addition, there were 2 yamen runners dressed in black with sabers hanging from their waists. The pedestrians on the street looked at him with reverence. Was this Luoyang during the time of Emperor Guangwu? Xia Pingan looked at the buildings and local customs on the street, and he couldn't help but have such a thought. Yes, the realm pearl he had fused with was the realm pearl of the Vajra neck. His current identity was Dong Xian. At this moment, Dong Xian was the Luoyang magistrate, which meant that he was the local magistrate of Luoyang. It was obvious just by looking at the buildings on both sides of the street. The city was filled with all kinds of government offices, warehouses, city offices, and the residences of high-ranking officials and nobles. In Luoyang there were many rich and powerful families. Many of them were well-connected. It wasn't easy to be the Luoyang magistrate. Just as Xia Pingan was sizing up the scenery on the street, a young man dressed in a yamen runner's uniform ran over from the corner of the street. He was panting with a flushed face. The moment the yamen runner turned the corner, he saw Xia Pingan patrolling the street. Without thinking, he rushed over to Xia Pingan. He didn't even have time to catch his breath before he hurriedly reported. Reporting to my lord. It's not good. Someone killed someone on the street in front of Chongwon Lane. Xia Pingan thought to himself, here it comes. What guts. Someone actually dares to kill someone on the street. Quickly bring me over to take a look. Yes? The yamen runner turned around and jogged, leading Xia Pingan in the direction of Chongwon Lane. During the Eastern Han Dynasty, Luoyang City already had a flourishing atmosphere. East and west of the city, 6 miles, 11 steps, 9 miles, 100 steps, 9 miles, 100 steps. The entire urban area of the city was already around 10 square kilometers. It was divided into a total of 12 city gates. On the 2 sides of each gate, there were 2 towering towers that could be seen even from within the city. Under the guidance of the bailiff, Xia Pingan walked as if he was flying. Within a few minutes, they had arrived at Chongwon Lane where the incident had occurred. A group of commoners surrounded the street. They were all there to watch the commotion, but because someone had died, they didn't dare to come over. They could only watch from afar as they discussed. Some people even had looks of terror on their faces. Many commoners didn't even dare to look, covering their eyes as they quickly walked past. A man carrying a pole was lying on the side of the street. Blood was flowing all over the ground. Some dried fruits that were carried on the pole were also scattered all over the ground. 2 yamen runners stood at the side to maintain order. When they saw Xia Pingan walking over with large strides, they immediately heaved a sigh of relief. When Xia Pingan arrived, he directly went to the man on the ground and squatted down to take a look. The man on the ground was in his 30s. He looked like a peddler who sold dried fruit. His face was filled with the vicissitudes of life. Due to the loss of blood, his face and lips were slightly pale. There were 2 fatal wounds on the man's body. One was on his neck and the other was on the right side of his chest. Looking at the wounds, he should have been killed by a sharp weapon like a sword. What's going on here? Who is this man? Why was he killed? Xia Pingan stood up and asked the 2 yamen runners who were guarding the place. Reporting to my lord, this man is called Li Xiaoman. He is a commoner of Chongwen Lane who sells dried fruits for a living. According to the surrounding commoners, Li Xiaoman was carrying a pole on the street when a man whipped his horse to gallop on the street and overturned Li Xiaoman's pole. Li Xiaoman didn't want to comply, so he pulled the man's horse. Unexpectedly, the man was so rude and unreasonable that he beat Li Xiaoman as soon as he got off the horse. The 2 of them struggled for a while before the man pulled out the knife at his waist and killed Li Xiaoman. Then he rode away on his horse. How dare he kill someone in the city in broad daylight? Who is the murderer? Xia Pingan said angrily. According to the surrounding commoners, the murderer is Princess Huyang's servant, Sangto. After that person killed someone saw him running to the princess' residence. When the yamen runner mentioned Princess Huyang, his voice unconsciously lowered. He looked at Xia Pingan with some uneasiness and carefully sized up Xia Pingan's expression. Princess Huyang, who in Luoyang didn't know her. She was His Majesty's biological sister. Before His Majesty ascended the throne, she lived with His Majesty. Even His Majesty had to show some respect to her. Who would dare to arrest Princess Huyang's servant, Sangto, after killing someone? Xia Pingan knew that the Sangto mentioned by the yamen runner was equivalent to a servant or follower in the Han dynasty. Being able to ride a horse and carry a knife in the city meant that he was favored by Princess Huyang. He wasn't an ordinary servant. Call the neighbors who saw the murder here. I will personally question them. Yes. Several yamen runners called the neighbors who witnessed the murder here. Xia Pingan questioned them personally. He asked about the whole story and the identity and appearance of the murderer. The murderer was Princess Huyang's servant, Sangto. Xia Pingan asked a yamen runner to inform the victim's family to collect the corpse. Without saying a word, he directly turned around and returned to the magistrate's office with his men. After returning to the magistrate's office, Xia Pingan signed the arrest warrant according to the procedure. He asked the head of the magistrate's office to bring people to Princess Huyang's residence to arrest the murderer while he waited in the magistrate's office. A few hours later, the head of the magistrate's office and a few others returned with gloomy faces. Of course, they didn't bring the murderer with them. Your Excellency, when we arrived at Princess Huyang's residence, we knocked on the door and explained our purpose. The gatekeeper of Princess Huyang's residence chased us away and scolded us. He even threw out the arrest warrant signed by Your Excellency. He didn't let us in at all. The head of the magistrate's office lowered his head and said with shame, "Okay, I got it. Thank you for your hard work. Your subordinate is incompetent. As the magistrate of Luoyang, I have to uphold justice for the people of Luoyang. No matter who that person is on Princess Huyang's side, I have to kill him. That person can't hide in Princess Huyang's mansion forever. Princess Huyang likes to go on a tour. Every time she goes on a tour, she would take Sangtu with her. I estimate that Princess Huyang will definitely go out on a tour in a few days. From now on, send someone to keep an eye on Princess Huyang's mansion. As long as Princess Huyang takes that person out of Princess Huyang's mansion while she's on a tour, you have to inform me immediately." The head of the magistrate's office were all local tyrants in Luoyang. They didn't have the ability or courage to barge into the Princess Huyang's residence. However, it wasn't difficult for them to keep an eye on every move of the Princess Huyang's residence. The yamen runners were already filled with anger at the Princess Huyang's residence. When they saw that Xia Pingan wanted to severely punish Sangto, who killed someone in Princess Huyang's residence, they bowed and accepted the order. They patted their chests in front of Xia Pingan and promised that as long as that person dared to leave the Princess Huyang's residence, they would definitely let Lord Dong know. Xia Pingan waited in the magistrate's office. He took the time to sharpen the Han sword on his body until it was so sharp that it could be used as a mirror. Seeing that Xia Pingan was sharpening his sword, the Yamen runners were all filled with enthusiasm. This wait lasted for 5 days. On the morning of the 5th day, a Yamen runner quickly rushed to the magistrate's office to report that Princess Huyang was out on a tour today with a large number of attendants. Sangto, who killed someone a few days ago, had also followed Princess Huyang out of the Princess Huyang's residence. Yamen runners, follow me to hunt down the murderer, Xia Pingan shouted in the court. He wore the sharpened Han sword on his waist and took the lead, striding out of the magistrate's office. Seeing that their superior was so awesome, how could the Yamen runners in the magistrate's office shrink back? They all shouted and brought their sticks and swords. More than 10 people valiantly followed Xia Pingan out of the office. Half an hour later, on the main street of Luoyang, Xia Pingan intercepted the carriage of Princess Huyang and her entourage. Seeing that Princess Huyang's carriage was approaching, Xia Pingan stood in front of the carriage. He took out his Han sword and drew a line in the street in front of him. The tip of the sword rubbed against the stone slabs on the ground, creating a trail of sparks. Xia Pingan shouted, "Luoyang is to arrest the murderer. Anyone who dares to cross this line and offend the magistrate's office is an accomplice of the murderer. Kill without mercy." Xia Pingan's kill was truly seething with killing intent. Seeing the Luoyang magistrate coldly staring at him with a sword and a large group of Yamen runners standing in front of him, the coachman of Princess Huyang's carriage was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. He hurriedly pulled the reins of the carriage. "Dong Xian, how dare you block my carriage?" The curtain of the carriage was lifted, revealing the face of a domineering woman adorned with jewels. Princess Huyang glared at Xia Pingan fiercely. "What do you want to do? Do you want to rebel?" Xia Pingan glanced at those people behind Princess Huyang. Sure enough, he saw a man's face change. That man's appearance was exactly the same as that of the murderer described by those witnesses. Judging from his expression and appearance, that man was the murderer. "Princess Huyang, as a relative of the emperor, you don't know how to uphold the laws of the great Han dynasty. Instead, you cover up for your men to commit murder, harm the common people, and trample on the laws of the country. I, Dong Xian, will let you know what the laws of the great Han dynasty are." Xia Pingan's words were filled with righteousness. Princess Huyang's expression changed upon hearing Xia Pingan's words. She choked. Xia Pingan pointed his sword at the head of the Princess Huyang's residence and sternly shouted, "You, get off the horse." The murderous Song too had a guilty conscience. When he heard Xia Pingan's shout, his murderous aura hit him in the face. The horse under him was startled and retreated. The man was so frightened that he fell from the horse. Xia Pingan rushed over and before the man could get up, he chopped down with his sword and directly cut off the man's head. He was beheaded on the street. Ah! The surrounding people were startled. Seeing Xia Pingan kill her head of the Princess Huyang's residence on the street, Princess Huyang's face turned pale. She screamed and directly hid in the carriage. "Dong Xian, you wait. I'm not done with you," Princess Huyang hysterically shouted in the carriage. She turned the carriage around and left from the other side. "Go and report to Li Xiaoman's family. The murderer of Li Xiaoman has been killed by this official. A life for a life. The case is closed." Xia Pingan ordered the Yamen runner to report to the victim's family. Yes. The Yamen runner looked at Xia Pingan with admiration and then went to report to the victim's family. Not long after Xia Pingan returned to the government office, the victim's family, parents, wife, and 2 children, came to the government office in person with tears on their faces. They kowtowed to Xia Pingan to express their gratitude. Just after Li Xiaoman's family left, a eunuch came to the government office with an imperial edict. His Majesty had decreed that Dong Xian, the magistrate of Luoyang, should enter the palace for an audience. Xia Pingan tidied up his clothes and followed the eunuch into the palace. In the garden of the palace, Princess Huyang was weeping in front of a man in an imperial robe. Uncle One, before you became the emperor, our family was in decline, and I was the only one who took care of my mother. I had to worry about everything at home and outside. I had suffered all kinds of hardships, but I was still worried about you every day. I thought that I could live a good life after you became the emperor, but now that you are the emperor, I was bullied on the street. I don't want to be a princess anymore, sob. Lu Xiu looked at her sister helplessly and could only say, "Don't worry, elder sister. I've already asked someone to ask Dong Xian to come to see me. Today, I'll definitely avenge you." In a pavilion in the garden of the palace, Xia Pingan saw Lu Xiu, the martial emperor of light, and Princess Huyang, who was wiping her tears and glaring at him. Lu Xiu, the martial emperor of light, was handsome and his eyes were bright and sharp. At the sight of Xia Pingan, Lu Xiu's face darkened at once. "Dong Xian, how dare you hit the carriage of Princess Huyang? Guards, take Dong Xian out and behead him." "It's easy for your majesty to kill me, but can you let me say something before you kill me?" Xia Pingan said calmly. "Well, what do you want to say?" "Your majesty, you've recovered the country of the great Han dynasty and rejuvenated your virtue. You're a mighty lord of the generation. However, your majesty, you allow your slaves to kill the common people and trample on the laws of the great Han dynasty. How can your majesty govern the country and support the people? I don't need your majesty to kill me. I beg to commit suicide." Xia Pingan finished speaking loudly. Then, he clenched his teeth and lowered his head to hit the pillar in the pavilion. His face was covered with blood at once. Lu Xiu was shocked and quickly asked the eunuchs beside him to pull Xia Pingan back. Lu Xiu glanced at Princess Huyang and sighed softly. "Today, as long as you kowtow and apologize to Princess Huyang, I'll forgive you and let this matter drop. I don't know what to do. Why should I apologize to Princess Huyang?" Xia Pingan straightened his neck and refused to comply. Seeing this, Princess Huyang didn't expect that Dong Xian wouldn't even be willing to apologize. She simply couldn't get out of this embarrassing situation. She cried at the side and said, "When Uncle One was still a commoner, you could protect the people around you and prevent the officials from coming in to arrest people. Now that Uncle One has become the emperor, why can't you take care of a Luoyang magistrate?" Lu Xiu had no choice but to give a look to the imperial bodyguards beside him. Those eunuchs rushed over and grabbed Xia Pingan's hands. They pressed Xia Pingan's neck and body and pressed Xia Pingan's head to the ground. They insisted that Xia Pingan bend his neck and kowtow and apologize to Princess Huyang. Xia Pingan tensed up and let those eunuchs press him with all their strength. However, he didn't lower his head and didn't bend his neck. Seeing that Xia Pingan couldn't lower his head and apologize, Lu Xiu spread his hands to Princess Huyang. "Sister, this person is very strong. He's not afraid of death, but he won't lower his head. His neck is so hard. Even if I'm the emperor, I can't do anything to him." Seeing this situation, Princess Huyang was also helpless. She could only fling her sleeves and leave. After Princess Huyang left, Lu Xiu looked at Xia Pingan and smiled. Then, he gave Xia Pingan 300,000 yuan and asked the imperial bodyguards to send Xia Pingan out of the palace. As soon as he stepped out of the palace, the world of the boundary pearl shattered. In the room, Xia Pingan opened his eyes and let out a long sigh. It had been a long time since he fused with the boundary pearl. The feeling of being filled with divine power really made him miss it. This boundary pearl increased the divine power in his secret mandala by 42 points. Now, the upper limit of the divine power in the secret mandala reached 5,798 points. Other than the increase in divine power, Xia Pingan also obtained a divine skill, King Kong Neck. Xia Pingan used up 10 points of god power to buff himself with a Vajra's neck. He only felt his neck heat up and the buff was complete. He touched his neck and the feeling didn't seem to have changed at all. His neck didn't feel stiff either. Xia Pingan thought for a while. Then, he took out a knife from the space warehouse and slashed at his neck. Dang! A crisp sound was heard. Xia Pingan only felt his neck tremble slightly. However, he didn't lose a single strand of hair. The knife that was slashing at his neck was deflected. There was even a grain-sized hole on the blade. A smile immediately appeared on Xia Pingan's face. This Vajra neck was indeed useful. During a fight, he could use it on himself. The most vulnerable part of his neck would be completely immune to attack. This realm pearl could do the trick. He had to thank Adept Dong Xian for leaving behind this realm pearl for the future generations. It didn't take long to fuse with this boundary pearl. Xia Pingan then took out the debate of Haoyang boundary pearl and continued to fuse with it. The debate of Haoyang boundary pearl was the famous debate between Zhuangzi and Huizi on the bridge of the Haoyang River while looking at the fish in the river. For those who knew this story, fusing with this boundary pearl was even easier. In just 2 minutes, the boundary pearl was completely fused with a few words. The upper limit of Xia Ping and Secret Mandala's divine power increased by 20 points, reaching 5,818 points. After fusing with these 2 boundary pearls, Xia Pingan took out the divine thunder boundary pearl, flashing with lightning, and began to fuse with it. Probably not many people knew that the reason why this King Wui's boundary pearl could summon divine thunder was because King Wui had used an unimaginable method to summon divine thunder from the heavens to strike him. In the history of Huaxia, there were all kinds of absurd emperors. However, a weirdo like King Wui, who could summon divine thunder to strike himself to death, was absolutely unique in the world. He could be said to be the first person to seek death in history. Xia Pingan had just been imitating Zhuangzi for a few minutes. However, this divine thunder boundary pearl wanted Xia Pingan to be the opposite of Zhuangzi, a King Wui who defied the heavens wherever he went. It was quite a coincidence that these 2 boundary pearls could fuse together. Xia Pingan was soon wrapped in a cocoon of light that flashed with electric light. In the boundary pearl, Xia Pingan opened his eyes and saw a eunuch standing respectfully in front of him. "Your Majesty, the craftsmen you've been looking for have been found." The 5,000-word chapter was delivered. The second chapter was a little late today. Chapter 350. This realm bead didn't give Xia Pingan any time to prepare. As soon as Xia Pingan opened his eyes, he was faced with a choice. Why did he recruit those craftsmen? Ordinary people would definitely be dumbfounded after fusing with this realm bead, because no one would be able to guess Wui's mind. Inside the palace of the Shang dynasty's capital, Yin City, Xia Pingan followed the palace attendants and saw the craftsmen he had recruited. There were about 50 of them. They stood in 2 rows and looked at Xia Pingan nervously as he walked out of the palace. "Greetings, Your Majesty." All the craftsmen saluted Xia Pingan because Xia Pingan's current identity was the supreme ruler of Yin Shang, King Wui. "What craftsman are you?" Xia Pingan asked an honest-looking craftsman with thick hands standing in front of him. "I'm a carpenter," the craftsman answered. "What about you?" "I'm a cobbler," a craftsman beside him answered. "What about you?" "I'm a stonemason." "What about you?" "Coppersmith." These 50 craftsmen were the best craftsmen in Yin City. Each of them was rubbing their fists and waiting for Xia Pingan's orders. Xia Pingan rubbed his temples. Wui was so heaven-defying that he had to think about how to give his orders. "I want to make a puppet. The puppet has to be the same size as me, have a nose, eyes, hands, and feet, and be able to wear clothes. In short, the more it looks like a human, the better. Oh right, I also want to build a high platform in front of me. I want a wooden shelf on the platform. The higher, the better. The shelf must be able to hang things up and down. Also, I want a cobbler to make a bunch of leather bags for me. Once they're done, I'll reward you handsomely." Once they heard King Wui's words, the craftsmen cheered up. They immediately got ready to work. Xia Pingon looked up at the blue sky and prayed in his heart. "Heavens above, gods above, I'm going to play the role of King Wui in this realm bead. I'm going to try to summon the divine thunder so that I can enforce justice on behalf of heaven in the future. At the same time, I can also warn the world to respect the heavens and love them. I didn't mean to offend them. Please don't destroy my body and soul with the divine thunder." After secretly praying like this, Xia Pingon felt a little more at ease in his heart. Then, he waited for the craftsmen to present the finished products. "Damn it, this realm bead is too challenging. You know that you're going to jump down a cliff." Compared with King Wui, King Yu of Zhou, who played with the feudal vassals, was a child's play. A few days later, the craftsman made the wooden puppet that Xia Pingon wanted. The puppet was the size of a real person and wore clothes. Its eyes, nose, eyebrows, and hair were all made. Then, Xia Pingon played chess with the wooden puppet in the palace. He asked a eunuch to stand beside the puppet and said to the eunuch, "This puppet is the incarnation of the god of heaven. Now that the god of heaven can't move, you play chess with me on his behalf. Let's see if I'm better than this god of heaven." The eunuch was scared out of his wits. He didn't expect King Wui to give such an absurd order. However, he had to obey King Wui's order. Therefore, he stood beside the puppet and played chess with Xia Pingon for the puppet. Naturally, the eunuch didn't dare to win against King Wui. After the game, Xia Pingon won. Xia Pingon laughed out loud. He pointed at the puppet and said, "So what if you're the god of heaven? I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the world. You can't beat me in chess." Then, Xia Pingon took out his whip and directly whipped the god of heaven puppet, teasing and humiliating it. Everyone in the palace was scared out of their wits and turned pale with fright. The people of the Shang dynasty were superstitious. No one expected that King Wui would make a puppet to humiliate the god of heaven. In addition to chess, Xia Pingon took the god of heaven puppet to compete in all kinds of gambling games in the palace. Of course, Xia Pingon won every time. Every time he won, the god of heaven puppet would be whipped and humiliated by Xia Pingon. After a few more days, the wooden platform in the palace was also built. Xia Pingon went to take a look. The wooden frame and platform were set up very high. It was definitely the tallest man-made building in the entire Yin city. Moreover, there were beams on the wooden frame on the platform that could be used to hang things up. Then, Xia Pingon had people use leather bags to carry livestock's blood and hang them up on the platform. He stood below the platform and shot an arrow into the sky with a craftsman. The arrow hit the leather bag on the platform, and the blood in the leather bag flowed down from the high wooden frame. Xia Pingon told everyone below that the arrow he used was shooting the sky. When the leather bag bled, it was the sky that was bleeding. Everyone in the palace was so shocked by King Wui that they kept quiet out of fear. Everyone in the palace was in a state of panic and high pressure almost every day. After Xia Pingon tossed and turned in the palace for a few months, autumn came. Autumn was cool and refreshing, and it was the season for hunting. As the ruler of the Shang dynasty, hunting was naturally something he could not miss. On this day, seeing that the weather was good, Xia Pingon led his people, ministers, and nobles out of the palace to hunt. When they just reached the bank of a large river, Xia Pingon dismounted from his horse and was about to point out a good place to hunt. Under the clear sky, there was a sudden clap of thunder. A dazzling bolt of lightning, like a dazzling beam of light, suddenly fell from the sky and struck Xia Pingon. The attendants and ministers around him panicked. By the time everyone reacted, King Wui's body was already gone. There was only a big pit on the ground that was emitting black smoke. According to the historical records, King Wui was struck to death by lightning just like that. King Wui was also the only monarch in the history of China to be struck to death by lightning. His ability to seek death was the best in the world. In the room, the light cocoon on Xia Pinggan's body dissipated. Inside the light cocoon, Xia Pinggan's chest heaved up and down. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead. His body trembled inadvertently a few times, as if he had been electrocuted. Finally, he opened his eyes. Just now, he was too caught off guard. The moment the heavenly thunder fell, Xia Pinggan was terrified. He thought that he was going to be destroyed by the power of heaven and earth. At that moment, time seemed to have stopped. The great horror of heaven's killing intent made people tremble. Xia Pinggan even couldn't help but recall whether he had done anything wrong or harmed anyone in his life. Then, the divine thunder fell. Xia Pinggan's eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body turned into nothingness. After a long time, Xia Pinggan felt his consciousness return to his body. This realm pearl of King Wui directly brought 100 points of divine power, directly increasing the upper limit of divine power in Xia Ping and secret mandala to 5,918 points. There was also a relief sculpture of King Wui being struck by heavenly thunder in the secret mandala. The heavenly thunder in the relief sculpture was like a living thing, shining brightly. The words, thunder and lightning, in the golden text mountain were ignited at the same time. Xia Pinggan calmed his mind, got out of bed cross-legged, and went directly to the small courtyard of his room. He raised his head and looked at the deep starry sky, his thoughts flying. There were endless mysteries between heaven and earth. Was there really a super-will that dominated everything? The end of the summoner's path was to become a god. One day, could he become an existence that could pick the stars with a stretch of his hand? Xia Pinggan stretched out his hand, and a ball of lightning jumped between his slender fingers, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The feeling of controlling the divine thunder is indeed powerful. Xia Pinggan whispered to himself. The greatest characteristic of the lightning-type summoning technique was its speed. This speed was the most terrifying. Once this technique was summoned, it could directly lock onto the target and hit the opponent's head. Moreover, it was very powerful. It was too terrifying when used in a fight. It had been a long time since Xia Pinggan went to the spiritual realm. Just as he was about to return to his room and walk around the spiritual realm to see if he could kill a few more horseshoe pests to replenish his energy, black smoke flashed beside him, and the flame rhinoceros emerged from the ground. Tuli's death has a huge impact. The morality gang is making a big move. They are mobilizing people. Oh! Xia Pinggan used his remote vision ability to look at the morality fortress from afar. He realized that the morality fortress was brightly lit, as if it was facing a great enemy. Large groups of morality gang members were constantly gathering at the morality fortress. At the same time, Yushan City was not peaceful. From time to time, there were black shadows scurrying around the street. Killing Tuli was the right move. The morality gang was already in a mess. Chapter 351. In the afternoon of the second day in Yushan City, the atmosphere in the Hero Tower was tense. Outside the Hero Tower, 1,000 disciples from the Righteous Sect and the Fire Dragon Pavilion each stood guard outside the Fire Dragon Pavilion. They occupied 2 streets outside the Fire Dragon Pavilion. The disciples of the Righteous Sect were dressed in black armor and held various weapons in their hands. A few of the Righteous Sect's altar masters were hiding in the surrounding buildings. On the other hand, the Fire Dragon Pavilion's disciples were all wearing fiery red capes, which were very eye-catching. The Fire Dragon Pavilion's long spear team was right beside the Morality Pavilion. Under the red capes of the Fire Dragon Pavilion's long spear team members were wearing shiny metal breastplate. The long spear team members were all holding long spears with bayonets attached to them. They also had pistols and short swords on their waists. In the carriages nearby, there were even a few Fire Dragon Pavilion's heavy machine guns. Most of the people in the Fire Dragon Pavilion were ordinary people. They were good at manufacturing firearms and had a place in the chaotic Yushan city. The streets were silent. Both parties were eyeing each other with their swords drawn. All the forces in Yushan city were paying attention to this place. The cause of the incident was naturally the assassination of one of the 4 great guardian warriors, Tu Lai. The righteous sect, which was already in conflict with the Fire Dragon Pavilion, immediately targeted the Fire Dragon Pavilion. The atmosphere in the entire Yushan city became tense. If the Tower of Heroes sends out a signal later, we'll immediately destroy the heavy machine guns that the Fire Dragon Pavilion hid in the car outside and kill the captains of the Fire Dragon Pavilion's Long Spear team. Without a leader, the Long Spear team is like a pile of loose sand. They're no match for us in close-range combat. Then, we'll cooperate with the protectors in the tower and kill the deputy sect master and the others here. In a private room in a restaurant on the nearby street, 2 altar masters of the righteous sect narrowed their eyes and looked at the spear team of the Fire Dragon Pavilion outside the Hero Tower. They were discussing how to deal with the Fire Dragon Pavilion. The sorcerer camp of the Fire Dragon Pavilion did not show up. They are probably hiding in the dark. We have to be careful. Without the protection of the sorcerer camp, their spear team will not come out. In the Tower of Heroes, the atmosphere dropped to the freezing point. The Vice Pavilion Master of the Fire Dragon Pavilion, Thunder Destroyer, sneered and crossed his arms. He looked at the 2 guardians of the Morality Pavilion sitting across from him and refused to budge an inch. Do you really think that the Fire Dragon Pavilion is a pushover? You want to blame Tuli's death on us. You want to force us to give in on the mine and monopolize the silver mine? What evidence do you have to prove that Tuli's death is related to the Fire Dragon Pavilion? As long as you can produce evidence, everything can be discussed. Secluded Mountain also has its own principles. If you don't have evidence, then what you said just now is just a fart. If one of our Fire Dragon Pavilion's members dies one day, can we pin the blame on your Morality Pavilion and demand an explanation from you? Give up the mine? In the entire Secluded Mountain, only the Fire Dragon Pavilion has the motive. What? You have the guts to do it, but you don't have the guts to admit it? Ingfian, one of the 2 guardians of the Morality sect, also looked at Thunder Destroyer coldly. Unlike Thunder Destroyer, who looked mature and strong like a raging lion, Ingfian looked like a 15-year-old youth. The corners of his eyes were raised, his lips were red, and his teeth were white. He wore a white robe and looked quite charming. However, if one thought that Ingfian was younger than Thunder Destroyer, then they would be wrong. In Secluded Mountain, Ingfian had looked like this since 50 years ago. In terms of age, Ingfian could be Thunder Destroyer's grandfather. Legend had it that Ingfian had once eaten the immortal fruit in the secret realm of the void. Hence, he had always looked like this. You're right, the Fire Dragon Pavilion does have the motive. However, the Morality sect has offended many people. We're not the only one with the motive. Moreover, the people who killed Tu Lai at the scene were all from the Devil Wolf clan. Do you think we don't know anything? There are so many Devil Wolf corpses at the scene. If you have the guts, go and ask the Devil Wolf clan for an explanation. The Devil Wolf clan is currently having internal strife. Many Devil Wolf warriors and Devil Wolf sorcerers have been banished to Secluded Mountain City. Those Devil Wolves can be hired as long as there are benefits. Do you really think we'll be fooled by such petty tricks? I'll say it again. Where's the evidence? If there's no evidence, the Fire Dragon Pavilion won't admit to anything. If you want to fight or kill, we'll entertain you at any time. Even if you want to see the truth, it's fine. Zhu Kongxing, the other guardian of the Morality sect, who was dressed in black and had wrinkled skin and white hair, stood up immediately. He was filled with killing intent as he slammed his palm on the table. The huge wooden table that separated the two parties from the negotiation instantly turned into ice shards and scattered on the ground. The auras of the morality sect members surged wildly. Black fog rolled behind them as if they were about to attack. The people of the Fire Dragon Pavilion also stood up at once. With a wave of their lightning-extinguishing hand, a black ostrich egg-like object appeared in their hands. The surface of the object was smooth, but there were circles of strange runes on the smooth surface. Seeing the object in Lightning Destroyer's hand, everyone on the morality sect's side froze as if they were frozen. A few of the leaders raised their eyebrows and didn't dare to make a move. The hero tower instantly fell silent. Everyone's eyes were focused on the object in Lightning Destroyer's hand. Come on, continue to be arrogant and make a scene. If you want to fight, come on. Lightning Destroyer's face revealed a domineering and ferocious smile. There was even a hint of madness on his body. The fire dragon tattoo on his neck suddenly became clear. Lightning Destroyer glared at the people from the morality sect with bloodshot eyes. I'll trade one of you for all of you. No matter what, it's not a loss. If you have the guts, come at me. Let's see if I dare to die with you, Divine Void Lightning. Ingfian's face was slightly distorted as he stared at the black egg in Lightning Destroyer's hand. You have good eyesight. Although this Divine Void Lightning is of the lowest level, it's enough to take all of you away. You dare to detonate it? The Fire Dragon Pavilion doesn't have as many summoners or martial artists as you do. We don't have any other skills, but we do have a lot of people who don't care about their lives. If I die, the Fire Dragon Pavilion has a lot of people who can take over the position of Deputy Sect Master. You'll know if I dare to do it or not after you try. Lightning Destroyer laughed wildly. He looked around at his followers who came to the Tower of Heroes to negotiate and asked loudly, "Brothers, do you dare to die with me? We're willing to die with Deputy Sect Master and pave a way out for our brothers." A few of Miele's followers stepped forward and yelled. Then, they unbuttoned their clothes, revealing the explosives strapped to them. The summoners and experts of the Righteous Gang were shocked by Lightning Destroyer and his followers. None of them dared to make a move. At this moment, a rumbling sound came from outside the Tower of Heroes. The entire Tower of Heroes seemed to be shaking. A team of 1,000 Tauren warriors wearing thick metal armor and wielding shiny heavy axes suddenly walked over from the distant street in unison. These Tauren warriors were all tall and strong. Their weight, combined with the weight of their armor and weapons, easily exceeded a ton. 1,000 Minotaur warriors rushed over in unison, no less than a train. The entire ground was trembling. After the orcs, another 1,000 Naga warriors came from another direction and blocked the street on the other side of the Tower of Heroes. In the sky, a giant black snake that was 70 to 80 meters long suddenly flew over. When it reached the top of the Tower of Heroes, the giant snake twisted its body and turned into an old Naga mage wearing a long green robe. The Naga mage stuck out his tongue and his hoarse voice resounded above the Tower of Heroes. The silver mine at Longmu Valley was first discovered by us beastmen. Why don't we discuss how to divide the silver in the mine today? All the factions and people in Yushan City who were paying attention to the Tower of Heroes were shocked. They didn't expect the orcs to intervene at this moment and officially announce to the Righteous Gang and Fire Dragon Pavilion that they wanted to get their hands on the silver mine at Longmu Mountain. The negotiations between the Fire Dragon Pavilion and the Righteous Gang suddenly became complicated. Outside the Tower of Heroes, with the addition of the orcs, the confrontation between the two factions suddenly became three. The situation instantly became complicated. At this moment, Xia Pingan was no longer in the city. Instead, he appeared outside the city at Longmu Valley, which was near the silver mine that the three factions were fighting over. He was sizing up the Righteous Gang's silver mine. Today's Chapter 2 is a little late. Chapter 352. Outside Yushan City, in the lush mountain ridge, Xia Pingon and Flaming Rhinoceros were hiding behind a pile of rock. They lowered their heads and looked at the mining site that was in full swing below the mountain ridge. It was a huge mining site. There were at least tens of thousands of people working in the mining site below. The sound of the mining machines was earth-shattering. This was a shallow vein. As long as the ground was slightly excavated, the ore deposit would be exposed. The entire mining site was dug into a huge spiral pit. On both sides of the pit, there were busy people everywhere. The noise from the machines and the noise from the machines mixed together. Dust flew everywhere. It was extremely noisy. The ore that had been excavated was pulled away by the carts. At the smelting factory outside the mining site. On the way in and out of the mining site, there were many armed teams from the morality gang setting up checkpoints to prevent outsiders from entering as they wished. This is the silver mining site of the morality gang? Xia Pingon glanced at the mining site and turned to ask Flaming Rhinoceros. Yes. At the back of the mountain is the mining site of the Fire Dragon Pavilion. The two mining sites are the same vein. Therefore, this is where the conflict between the two sides lies. One of the four great guardian deities of the morality gang, Xionghe and Iron Hansley, are stationed here with a team of summoners. Shall we kill them again? Flaming Rhinoceros was a little excited. When he was talking about what to do, he couldn't help but lick his lips. His pupils were a little dilated, as if he was immersed in the excitement of the assassination. Xia Pingon also realized that some people became killers or assassins for their livelihood or work. However, Flaming Rhinoceros was completely enjoying the process. Of course we'll do it. Xia Pingon was also looking at the mining site below. There were many buildings and sheds in the mining site. As he didn't know if there were any summoners below who had the remote viewing ability, he didn't rashly use his remote viewing ability to search. Instead, he used his sight to determine the target. Where do Xionghe and Iron Hansley live? Do you see that 3-story building with a blue roof with a courtyard at the edge of the mine? Flame Rhinoceros pointed at a building on a hillside at the edge of the mine more than 2,000 meters away. Xionghe, Iron Hansley, and the summoner who is stationed at the mine are usually in that small building. Occasionally, they would come out to patrol. The temporary houses at the edge of the small building are occupied by the armed mine guards from the morality sect. During the day, they would be very lax. After hearing Flaming Rhinoceros's words, Xia Pingon also saw the blue-roofed building and the houses below it. That place looked like a military camp. Beside the building, there were many simple buildings, which should be the living area of the miners. In the daytime, the armed guards of the mining site didn't become idle. On the contrary, the people around the blue-roofed building and the houses were very lax. Some people were lying under the shade of trees, sleeping, chatting and catching fleas on their bodies. They didn't make any preparation at all. Just as Xia Pingon was sizing up that place, a door on the 3rd floor of the blue-roofed building opened. A man casually draped in a black fur vest walked out of the room. He scanned the mining site from the walkway outside the building. Seeing that the mining site was safe, the man stretched himself and returned to the room. That man is Xionghe, one of the 4 great guardian warriors of the morality gang. He's also a summoner of the 5 Suns realm. Flaming Rhinoceros explained, "Let's not talk about anything else. As long as one of the 4 great guardian warriors of the morality gang is killed, the morality gang will definitely be in chaos. If 2 of them are killed, the morality gang will lose 3 of its 4 great guardian warriors." Xia Pingon only scanned the mining site below and instantly made a decision. He came up with a plan of action in his mind. "Kill him," Xia Pingon said as he used a tree branch to draw a line on the ground. He explained the plan of action: "Use your earth elemental technique to bring me to the entrance of the building. I'll deal with the 2 guards at the entrance, and then charge into the room upstairs to kill Xionghe. You hide in the dark and support me. I, Iron Handsley, and the rest will be left to you. We only have half a minute to act. After half a minute, no matter what the situation is, we will immediately retreat from the original path. If there are any unforeseen circumstances, we will retreat separately and meet again in Yushan City. What do you think? Xia Pinggan's plan of action seemed very daring. He wanted to attack the building in broad daylight and kill the two great guardian warriors of the morality gang. This plan of action was definitely not thought of by normal people. Without any preparation, it seemed risky, but the chances of success were very high. All right. Flame Rhino nodded and didn't say anything else. He grabbed Xia Pinggan and used Earth Elemental technique to sneak towards the building at the edge of the mining site. Every time Flame Rhino used Earth Elemental technique, Xia Pinggan would think of Tu Xingsuan from the Investiture of the Gods. Earth Elemental technique was really hard to guard against. At least for normal summoners, there was nothing they could do. The two of them entered the mining site and went directly to the building from the underground. The people in the mining site and the building didn't notice anything unusual. There were two summoners of the morality gang guarding the entrance of the building. The two summoners weren't thinking about their post. Instead, they were chatting casually in a low voice. What do you think is the situation in the city? I heard that something happened in the gang last night. Tu Lai was assassinated by a demon wolf hired by the Fire Dragon Pavilion. I don't know, but I think we'll have to fight with the Fire Dragon Pavilion sooner or later. A mountain can't accommodate two tigers. There's only one silver mine, and our mine is going to be dug together with the Fire Dragon Pavilion's mine. Didn't the mages of the Fire Dragon Pavilion come to our place 2 days ago? This isn't a good sign, Sai. It's a pity that the gang leader isn't here. The two enforcers and the managers are hesitating. If the gang leader was here, I think we would have already started a war with the Fire Dragon Pavilion. Shoo, don't talk nonsense. What's there to be afraid of? The two summoners guarding the entrance were chatting. They didn't notice that two little turtles with snake heads and turtle bodies had silently crawled out from the ground behind them. The two little turtles silently crawled behind their feet and bit their heels at the same time. In an instant, the two summoners were frozen from their heels to the tips of their hair. The best part was that the two little turtles bit at the right time when the two were talking about a sensitive topic and took the initiative to end the topic. Even if there was an expert in the building who could hear their conversation, it wouldn't be strange if they suddenly stopped talking at that moment. As soon as Black Tortoise made a contribution, in the next second, Flame Rhinoceros and Xia Pinggan suddenly emerged from the ground. Xia Pinggan's face was wearing his Desert Bandit Wolf mask. Xia Pinggan didn't even think as he rushed upstairs with his fastest speed. Xia Pinggan activated the Lotus Flower Step skill. The golden lotus flower beneath his feet flashed. Noiselessly, with a single step, he crossed over 30 meters from the courtyard of the small building and arrived downstairs. With the second step, the lotus flower beneath his feet flashed again. Xia Pinggan's body rose from the ground. Like lightning, he directly crossed over to the third floor from the courtyard and appeared outside the room where Xiong He had appeared earlier. From here, he could finally clearly hear the movements in the room. Hearing the sounds coming from the room, Xia Pinggan revealed a strange expression. After that, Xia Pinggan didn't break the door open. Instead, he took 2 steps forward and gently pushed the door open. The room was luxuriously decorated, but the atmosphere was foul. A large group of people were gathered around a table. Their eyes were wide open and bloodshot as they stared at the dice rolling on the table. One of the righteous gang's 4 great guardian deities, Xiong He, was boldly sitting in front of the table. Before him was a large pile of gold coins, and he was shouting loudly, "Leopard, leopard, leopard." With Xiong He as the banker, Leopard could kill anyone. As for the others, they were also shouting, "Small, small, small, Big, 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 15 points, 15 points, 11 points, 11 points. Piles of gold coins were placed on the table. Some people had even placed their realm pearls on the table. On the gambling table, there were people placing their bets on big, small, and even numbers. The odds were all different. Those people were all immersed in gambling. When Xia Pingan opened the door and walked in, no one took notice of him. No one even turned around to take a glance at him. Fuck, if I had known, why would I have been so careful? Seeing the situation, Xia Pingan was speechless. Cough, cough. Xia Pingan had no choice but to cough twice. Hearing Xia Pingan's coughs, someone finally raised their head and looked toward the entrance. Then, they saw a guy wearing a ridiculous desert bandit mask standing at the entrance. What are you doing? That guy finally asked. Only then did everyone's gaze shift from the gambling table to Xia Pingan. Everyone was slightly startled. I am here to send you all on your way. After Xia Pingan finished speaking, he used a silence barrier to seal the room. At the same time, terrifying lightning that had been accumulating power for a long time blossomed from his body. Xia Pingan did not summon a single lightning bolt. Instead, he summoned a total of 5 lightning bolts. The effect of the 5 lightning bolts was not at all inferior to the 5 lightning talisman Tu Lai used last night. In fact, it was even stronger. In an instant, every corner and every inch of space in the room was filled with the lightning bolt. The terrifying lightning bolts tore through everything. They passed through one living body after another, electrolyzed and separated the bodily fluids within those bodies. Their muscles and tissues were necrotized and paralyzed. Their heartbeats stopped, they lost consciousness, and their breathing stopped. Their bodies were burned, carbonized, and then exploded. All of this happened in less than 1/10 of a second. That lightning bolt was too fast. Furthermore, its power was too terrifying. Including Xionghe, none of the summoners in the room were able to cast any defensive techniques in time. The final result only proved one thing. The majority of the summoners, although their bodies were valiant, were only made of flesh and blood. These flesh and blood bodies were completely unable to withstand the terrifying bombardment of the lightning bolt. With a single move from Xia Pingan, everyone in the room was killed. Chapter 353. When the lightning dissipated, the charred corpses were all over the floor. Only at this moment did the dice on the table stop rolling in the bowl. 1 point, 3 points, 4 points, small merely. None of the surrounding gamblers were able to see this result. The entire room was filled with the smell of burnt corpses. Other than the corpses in the room, a large amount of items had also exploded out from the spatial equipment Xionghe had fused with. There were gold coins, realm pearls, and all sorts of other items. Like a flood gushing out from a dam or a fountain of gold coins, the items began to surge out from the void. In an instant, they filled up half of the room. The amount of gold coins that had gushed out was too heavy. The floor of the room was emitting strange noises from the pressure. It was as if the floor would collapse at any moment. At this moment, Xia Pingan did not have the time to look carefully. With a wave of his hand, he collected all of the items in the room into his spatial warehouse. After that, he turned around and rushed out of the room. Although he was able to block out the sound in the room, he was unable to block out such an intense fluctuation of divine energy. The other summoners in this building must have sensed it. Right after Xia Pingan rushed out of the room, 2 summoners rushed out from the room beside him at practically the same time. In an instant, they bumped into Xia Pingan, who was wearing a wolf mask at the entrance. Both of them were greatly startled. This kind of close combat between summoners was like a bayonet fight. It was a competition of who was faster. Before those 2 summoners could react, 2 icicles flew out from Xia Pingan's hand and directly pierced through the heads of those 2 summoners. Their heads were smashed into pieces. Those 2 summoners did not even make a sound as their corpses rolled down from the 2nd floor. Another summoner rushed out. Similarly, His head was pierced through by one of Xia Pingan's icicles. He was directly killed. Truth be told, among the summoners guarding this building, other than Xiong He who possessed a bit of strength, the rest were mostly at the 1 or 2 sun stage. Compared to a 5 sun stage summoner like Xia Pingan, the difference between them and a 5 sun stage summoner was enormous. If they were to rush out, they would be throwing away their lives. Right after Xia Pingan got rid of several summoners, he felt intense fluctuations of divine energy and scorching aura coming from beneath his feet. Fuck! Xia Pingan cursed in his heart. Without even thinking, a lotus flower appeared beneath his feet. Stepping on the lotus flower, he stepped out of the small building and arrived outside the courtyard of the small building. As soon as Xia Pingan left, the small building collapsed with a loud rumble. A huge pit more than 10 meters deep appeared under the small building. Lava was boiling in the pit. It was magma that had been melted by the high temperature. The ruins of the small building began to burn. Under such circumstances, even if there were 2 living people in the small building, they would be buried in the magma pit. If they could survive in the end, they would be lucky. Flame Rhinoceros emerged from the ground like a ghost and grabbed Xia Pingan's hand. Go! The 2 of them entered the ground and disappeared in the blink of an eye. From the time the 2 launched their surprise attack to their quick retreat, the entire process took less than 10 seconds. The entire small building in the mining area was reduced to ruins and a fire crater. It was only at this moment that the guards in the mining area, who were closest to the small building, cried out in alarm. They noticed the abnormality in the small building. A large group of people rushed toward the small building, shouting and yelling. A few minutes later, Xia Pingan and Flame Rhinoceros emerged from a nearby hill. Looking down from above, the entire Morality Sect's mining area was in chaos. There was no longer any order in production. Some of the guards who rushed to the small building were still futilely trying to get someone to put out the fire. There were also some guards who were scurrying around the mining area like headless flies, looking for suspicious people. In the face of a summoner's powerful sorcery, ordinary people's methods were too powerless. If they put out the fire now, they would not even be able to find ashes. What happened just now? Why was there such a huge commotion? Xia Pingan finally found a chance to ask Flame Rhinoceros. Iron Handley was in the underground cultivation room. I killed him and the rest of the people in the building. The commotion was quite big. Now, 3 of the 4 great guardian warriors of the Morality Sect are gone. Flame Rhinoceros chuckled. He glanced in the direction of Yushan City, eager to try. Why don't we go to the Morality Castle and continue to do it? The Morality Castle is definitely empty at this time. That's enough. Given the current situation, we've lost almost half of the Morality Sect's pillars. We can't stay calm even if we want to. If we destroy the Morality Sect, Sect Leader Wei will be so frightened that he won't come back. That won't be good. Let's go. Just as Xia Pingan expected, once something happened at the mining area, 3 of the 4 great guardian warriors of the Morality Sect were dead in 2 days. Only 1 was left. The entire Morality Sect was stunned and panicked. The protector of the Morality Sect, who had entered Yushan City to negotiate with the Fire Dragon Pavilion, brought the people of the Morality Sect back to the Morality Castle in the afternoon. The entire Morality Castle was in a state of panic. The Taurens and Snake people who received the news revealed their ambitions the next day. Tauren warriors and Snake people sorcerers began to appear around the silver mining area of the Morality Sect. They even clashed with the teams sent by the Fire Dragon Sect to protect the mining area. Both sides suffered casualties. Under such circumstances, the Fire Dragon Pavilion did not stay idle. A large number of spearmen and sorcerers from the Fire Dragon Pavilion entered the mining area of the Fire Dragon Pavilion and began to expand the area of the mining area. They crossed the middle line of the mining area, that the Morality Sect, and began to encroach on the Morality Sect's mining area. Faced with the double pressure from the Fire Dragon Pavilion and the orcs, the righteous sect was leaderless. They did not gain any advantage in the few battles they had with the Fire Dragon Pavilion and the orcs. Instead, they had lost quite a number of people. The situation in Serene Mountain was suddenly unstable. As the instigator, Xia Pingon had completely stayed out of the matter for the past few days. He watched coldly from the sidelines and quietly waited for Wei Jiangxing to return to the Morality Fort. Child of Fortune had been sent to the Morality Fort by Xia Pingon. He had a thorough understanding of the inside and outside of the Morality Fort. As long as Wei Jiangxing returned to the Morality Fort, Xia Pingon would be the first to know. In order to not expose his whereabouts, Xia Pingon was as careful as a hunter. He did not even enter the spiritual realm. The Dream Demon could enter the spiritual realm. This meant that the Demon Dominator or the Blood Demon Church had a way to merge with the Dream Pearls. Now that the Demon Dominator and the Blood Demon Church were looking for him all over the world, since they knew that he could enter the spiritual realm, they might have set up some traps or tricks in the spiritual realm, waiting for him to enter and expose his whereabouts. Everything was as Xia Pingon expected. However, 7 days after the incident in the mining area, Wei Jiangxing finally descended from the sky and returned to the Morality Castle. What Xia Pingon did not know was that when Wei Jiangxing returned, the Lord of the Blood Demon Church's Golden Moon Temple also led a large group of experts from the Blood Demon Church and quietly entered Yushan City. Night fell. On a mountain more than 200 miles away from Yushan City, one could already see the lights in the basin of Yushan City. The Lord of the Golden Moon Temple stood on the mountain peak. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His emotionless eyes stared coldly at the basin in the distance. Behind him, the blood mist rolled. The space walker you mentioned is in Yushan City? That's right. The two-headed white demonic wolf stood behind the Lord of the Golden Moon Temple. Can you still feel that person now? The distance is too far. The blood mark of the demonic wolf can't sense it. However, as long as it's a little closer, I can. The two-headed white demonic wolf's 4 eyes flashed with a cunning light. Don't forget the conditions I mentioned previously. The Blood Demon Church's promise is valid. As long as you can find that person, the Blood Demon Church's promise to you will be fulfilled. We will help your tribe to unify all the demonic wolf tribes in the north of Yushan City. We will make you the lord of the demonic wolf tribe in the north of Yushan City. Even if it's not that person, we will give you a reward of 5 million gold coins. With this reward, you can do whatever you want. The Lord of the Golden Moon Temple said coldly. Now, find that person. The two-headed white demonic wolf did not say a word. It turned into a black smoke and pounced down from the mountain peak, flying towards Yushan City. The Golden Moon Temple Master waved his hand, and a large group of experts from the Blood Demon Church rose into the air. Like a large group of bats in the night sky, they flew over the mountain and followed the two-headed white demon wolf towards Yushan City. Lord, should we inform Wei Jiangxing? After those people left, a man appeared beside the Lord of the Golden Moon Temple and asked softly. The Lord of the Golden Moon Temple's eyes flashed with a strange light. The spacewalker who came here with Xia Pingon previously died at the hands of Wei Jiangxing. The Morality Sect has been in trouble for the past few days. It is definitely not a coincidence. Those spacewalkers might have a way to communicate with each other. If that person is really Xia Pingon might be coming for Wei Jiangxing. Informing Wei Jiangxing would spoil things. Compared to the reward of the Dominator of Demons, what was a small altar master in Yushan City? After saying this, the Lord of the Golden Moon Temple disappeared. If that person was really Xia Pingon, the opportunity to become a god was right in front of him. This time, no matter what, he could not let Xia Pingon escape. Chapter 2 will be updated later. Chapter 354. The gang leader is back. Thank goodness the gang leader is back. This time, those beastmen and fire dragon pavilion will be in trouble. Inside the morality fortress, the morality gang members who were gathered inside the fortress started to cheer. After the past few days of depression and hesitation, with Wei Jiangxing's sudden return, the entire morality fortress became lively. Inside and outside the fortress, the cheers of the morality gang members could be heard everywhere. The morality gang members who were guarding the walls of the fortress waved their torches excitedly. They could be seen from miles away. As a flame rose into the sky and exploded above the morality fortress, a huge red order word appeared in the night sky. The entire Yushan city knew that the gang leader of the morality gang had returned. The order word that exploded above the morality fortress was Wei Jiangxing's gang leader gathering order. This gang leader gathering order was sent to everyone in Yushan city. Xia Pingan and Yan Shi naturally saw it too. When the summoning order of the morality fortress rose into the sky, the two of them were on a hill 10 miles away from the morality fortress. Even though they were 10 miles away, the red light that exploded in the sky dyed Xia Pingan's deep eyes and face red in an instant. Xia Pingan took a deep breath and loosened his tightly clenched fists. He looked at Yan Shi and asked, "Are you familiar with the layout of the morality fortress? These few days, you have already said it many times and we have also practiced it many times. We are already clear. Wei Jiangxing is a cunning person. He lives in the secret underground room of the morality fortress. He might even change his room frequently. Later, when he enters the underground room, the two of us will attack. We will enter the underground first, and then quickly lock onto his track. He won't be able to escape then." Yan Shi nodded and spread out his hands. He said confidently, "This is what I do for a living. You have to believe in my professional standard. That Wei Jiangxing is at most a 6-sun realm. He isn't that strong. If he is a 7-sun realm, the situation in Yushan City would have changed. According to what we have practiced these few days, it won't be difficult to kill him. Kill Wei Jiangxing tonight and you will be free. Our debt will be written off," Xia Pingan suddenly said. Yan Shi was stunned for a moment. Then, he was overjoyed. Just as he was about to speak, but before Xia Pingan could finish his words, he interrupted Flame Rhinoceros. "Don't be happy too early. Even if you can regain your freedom, you'd better pray that nothing happens to me, because once the shape-sealing spell is cast, it will leave an eternal spell imprint on your body. I believe you can feel this imprint yourself. It has already merged with your secret mandala. If something happens to me, if I die, the shape-sealing spell imprint in your body will lose the suppression of my power. It will be reactivated by your divine power and go out of control. You will turn back into a pig, and then it will be difficult for you to regain your human form." "Ah!" Yan Shi was dumbfounded. His face suddenly turned bitter and he hurriedly begged, "Can you remove the spell imprint on my body as well? I can swear a blood oath that I will never betray you. Or you can run away for a few months and help me remove the shape-sealing technique completely. By then, we may never see each other again. Even if I want to betray you, I won't be able to find you again." Xia Pingan spread out his hands. "Once the shape-sealing technique is used, the spell imprint will be eternal. At least, I have no way to remove it. It's like eating rice. Once the rice is cooked, it will be digested. Do you think you can still spit out the rice? It's the same with the shape-sealing technique. Once this technique is used, the result is irreversible." Yan Shi looked at Xia Pingan's face and felt that Xia Pingan was not lying to him. He could only accept his fate and nodded. He sighed. "Then you have to live well. Live for thousands of years. If something happens to you, I'll be in trouble. Damn it, I've been an assassin all my life. This is the first time I sincerely hope that someone can live well. Let's go." Xia Pingan looked in the direction of the morality fortress. Wei Jiangxing's words were almost finished. He could prepare to make his move. Yan Shi grabbed Xia Pingan and dug into the ground, disappearing in an instant in the morality fortress Juxian Hall. Wei Jiangxing sat upright on the golden chair. His face was slightly gloomy and his expression was like iron. To be honest, Wei Jiangxing had a rather righteous face. He had a square face with a high and shiny forehead. Under his thick eyebrows was a pair of flashing tiger eyes. He had a thick beard on his face. At first glance, he had the temperament of a Jianghu boss. Alright, I know about the situation in Serene Mountain. Let's put the silver mine aside for now. It's just some money. Now that the beastmen have taken some of it, we can take it back in the future, and make those beastmen spit it out with interest. Our morality sect's priority now is to find the murderer and the mastermind who killed Tu Lai, Xionghe, and Iron Handley, and avenge the three of them. I, Wei Jiangxing, swear here today that no matter who is behind the three of them, our morality sect will not rest until they are dead. If we find out that the Fire Dragon Pavilion is behind this, I will kill the Fire Dragon Pavilion's pavilion master to avenge our brothers. Wei Jiangxing's words were powerful and resolute. As soon as he said that, the atmosphere in the morality hall was lifted. The hearts of the people who were originally anxious instantly gathered together again. The silver mine was a small matter, but the people were a big matter. This was Wei Jiangxing's attitude. It was indeed uplifting. We are willing to serve the sect master. Under the lead of the two enforcers, the remaining higher-ups of the morality sect in the morality hall stood up and expressed their attitude. Enforcer Ing, tomorrow, bring some people to the outskirts of the city and find the demon wolf warriors and demon wolf magicians who fled to Serene Mountain. Tell them that as long as they can provide us with clues about the deaths of Tu Lai, Xionghe, and Iron Handley, and find the culprit or the person who hired them, our morality sect will reward them with 1,000,000 gold coins. Since there were so many corpses of demon wolves at the scene of Tu Lai's death, those demon wolves should know something. This incident happened too suddenly, especially the mine incident. Judging from the style, it doesn't seem to be the work of the Fire Dragon Pavilion. The Fire Dragon Pavilion wouldn't be so reckless. Therefore, we can't rule out the possibility that someone is trying to use the conflict between us and the Fire Dragon Pavilion to kill with a borrowed knife, causing both sides to suffer great losses. Wei Jiangxing said shrewdly. Yes. The youthful Ing Fian accepted the order. Enforcer Zhu, keep an eye on the magician camp of the Fire Dragon Pavilion. Once the magician camp of the Fire Dragon Pavilion has any strange movements, I want to be the first to know. Zhu Kongxing, who was dressed in black and had wrinkled skin and white hair, accepted the order. He bowed slightly and replied with a hoarse voice, Yes. The other altar masters, organize your troops and gather the elites in the morality fortress. Get ready to attack with me at any time. Yes. All right, today's meeting will end here. Everyone, you may leave. Wei Jiangxing waved his hand lightly. In the blink of an eye, everyone in the hall left. In the entire hall, only Wei Jiangxing was left sitting on the golden chair, rubbing his forehead tiredly. This time, Wei Jiangxing rushed back because he had received news from Serene Mountain. He had no choice but to return. If he didn't return, the Blood Demon sect's Serene Mountain branch might really be destroyed. Before returning to Serene Mountain, Wei Jiangxing and a large group of people from the Blood Demon sect were pursuing Xia Pingan in Tongzhou province of the Great Shang Nation. Previously, there was news from Tongzhou that Xia Pingan's tracks had been found. Therefore, a large group of people from the Blood Demon sect were attracted to go there. In fact, other than Tongzhou, there was news from the southern region of the Gold Moon continent, the seas outside the Great Shang Nation, and many places around the Great Shang Nation that someone had found Xia Pingan's tracks. In some places there were even people from the Blood Demon sect who had fought with Xia Pingan. No one knew if these news were true or false. However, every news that came out would attract a large number of people from the Blood Demon sect to investigate. Even the hierarch of the Blood Demon sect, after hearing that Xia Pingan's tracks had been found in the seas outside the Great Shang Nation, and that 2 of the members of the Blood Demon sect who had found Xia Pingan's tracks had been killed by Xia Pingan, he personally went to the seas to investigate. Wei Jiangxing had also been investigating outside for 2 months. On one hand, he had to find Xia Pingan. On the other hand, he had to fight a battle of wits and courage with the summoners from all over the Great Shang Nation to eliminate the Blood Demon sect. He was already exhausted. Being able to return to Serene Mountain again, Wei Jiangxing also felt relieved. This was because he felt that even if Xia Pingan's tracks were found outside, this fat piece of meat would not be his turn. Rather than this, it was better to return to Serene Mountain and be his local tyrant peacefully. Seeing that everyone in the Juxian Hall had left, Wei Jiangxing sat on the golden chair for a while with a contemplative look on his face. He went through the things that had happened in Serene Mountain recently. Finally, he pressed on one of the armrests of the golden chair. Below the golden chair there was a pitch-black hole. The entire golden chair, along with Wei Jiangxing who was sitting on it, slowly sank into the ground. In the Morality Fortress, the underground was the safest. The underground secret passageways of the Morality Fortress crisscrossed, and there were many different secret chambers distributed. There were also many security measures around the secret chambers. Not even a fly could easily fly in. Whether it was cultivation or rest, it was safer than in the fortress. Wei Jiangxing often rested and cultivated in different secret chambers underground. Even the people closest to him could not easily grasp his whereabouts underground. Walking down from the golden chair, Wei Jiangxing entered an underground secret passageway. The walls on both sides of the secret passageway were inlaid with pieces of fluorite that glowed in the dark. The light from the fluorite turned the underground secret chamber into a wretched green, like a ghost town. After a while, Wei Jiangxing casually came to an underground secret chamber. He closed the door of the underground secret chamber and locked the mechanism on the door. Wei Jiangxing waved his hand and summoned a few combat soldiers to guard the secret chamber. Then, he moved his hand and took out a realm pearl and a divine sense crystal. The realm pearl and the divine sense crystal were extremely precious and special realm pearls that he had obtained by chance when he was running around outside for the past 2 months. This realm pearl was called the God's Ear Realm Pearl. It was very famous among the summoners. Once this realm pearl was fused, the hearing of the summoner's ears would be raised to an unimaginable level. It was like the help of God. On the realm pearl and the divine sense crystal, 4 golden characters flashed, Su Yu ear washing, but Wei Jiangxing did not recognize them. Wei Jiangxing sat cross-legged on the cattail hassock in the secret chamber. He took out the realm pearl and the corresponding divine sense crystal and pricked his finger to drip his blood. In the blink of an eye, Wei Jiangxing was wrapped in a cocoon of light. From the beginning to the end, Child of Fortune had been following Wei Jiangxing, jumping around him. He even reached out and poked the cocoon of light surrounding Wei Jiangxing. What was even more unexpected to Wei Jiangxing was that when the cocoon of light had just wrapped around him, one of the walls of the secret chamber suddenly turned red. The rocks on the wall turned into magma and flowed down in an instant. Then, a thick layer of metal outside the rock to prevent the invasion of the escape technique melted in an instant. A brilliant vermilion bird flew into the secret chamber. In a face-to-face encounter, the few combat soldiers that Wei Jiangxing had summoned to the secret chamber for warning were turned into ashes. Xia Pingan and Yen Rhinoceros suddenly drilled out of the soil layer behind the hole in the wall. Damn, what kind of luck is this? Seeing the cocoon of light surrounding Wei Jiangxing, Yen Rhinoceros was surprised and looked at Xia Pingan with an incredulous look. The time and room of the surprise attack were chosen by Xia Pingan. Yen Rhinoceros did not expect that when the 2 of them came out, they would see Wei Jiangxing fusing the realm pearl in front of them. A summoner who was fusing with the realm pearl had no ability to resist and was no different from a baby. Chapter 355. Xia Pingan looked at Wei Jiangxing in the cocoon of light, and Lin Qing's face flashed across his mind. When Wei Jiangxing was fusing with the Suyu ear-washing realm pearl, Xia Pingan had already arrived. He had also seen what child Xia Pingan had seen. Xia Pingan had been waiting for Wei Jiangxing to start fusing with the realm pearl before taking action. Xia Pingan was very familiar with the story of the Suyu ear-washing. If this story was coordinated with the divine thought crystal, it would take a very short time. Wei Jiangxing might very well finish fusing and wake up very quickly. Therefore, Xia Pingan did not waste any time. Brother Lin Qing, today I will kill this person to avenge you. Xia Pingan calmly walked in front of Wei Jiangxing's cocoon of light. Without saying anything, he reached out and touched the cocoon of light. Then, he directly spat a fireball into it. Villains died because they talked too much. If you wanted to kill someone for revenge, you had to be direct and efficient. Although it might be more satisfying to let Wei Jiangxing wake up and reprimand him righteously, making him cry and wail before killing him, it was actually nonsense and useless. Even if an altar master of the Blood Demon Church was repenting in front of him, it was still fake. Moreover, as long as such a person lived for a second longer, there would be more trouble. There were only 2 words for revenge: life and death. Every minute and every second of this person's life was not considered revenge. Only death counted. Letting these trash die, letting people like Wei Jiangxing die when he thought he could successfully fuse with the realm pearl, was the simplest and most effective way to comfort his companions. Inside the cocoon of light, Wei Jiangxing looked like he was being cremated in an urn. His body started to burn bit by bit. After a few seconds, the cocoon of light on his body started to vibrate chaotically. Then, before he was completely cremated, Wei Jiangxing's face twisted in pain, but he could not move his body. Blood started to flow out of Wei Jiangxing's mouth, nose, eyes, and ears. After a few more seconds, when the burning tongue reached his chest and neck, and when the skin on his hands and feet started to turn black, Wei Jiangxing's head finally exploded with a bang. His brain matter scattered like flowers, shattering the cocoon of light around his body at the same time. The realm pearl fusion failed. His head exploded. This result made Xia Pingan feel a little frightened. Summoners were really too weak when fusing with realm pearls. When Flame Rhinoceros tried to assassinate him last time, if he was still fusing with the realm pearl, he would have died as well. The headless Wei Jiangxing's body was still sitting cross-legged on the stone bed. Strangely, his body did not fall down. Instead, it was twisting. Xia Pingan saw that the wound on Wei Jiangxing's neck, where his head had exploded, was still rapidly growing. His charred and carbonized skin was peeling off piece by piece. Under the skin, new skin could be seen growing out at a speed visible to the naked eye. Wei Jiangxing's body seemed to have a strong vitality. He was unwilling to die like this and was still struggling, trying to revive. This scene made Xia Pingan's scalp tingle. Damn it! Xia Pingan waved his hand. The flames surrounding Wei Jiangxing instantly became several times fiercer, revealing the shape of a vermilion bird. Finally, the flame prawn stopped struggling in front of Wei Jiangxing's corpse. It quickly turned into ashes in the raging flames, no longer showing any signs of life. Then, Wei Jiangxing's spatial equipment also exploded. Gold coins, pills, and the box containing the realm bead poured out of the secret room. Xia Pingan did not check. He simply waved his hand and collected all the items that had exploded. He shouted, "Let's go!" The flame rhinoceros grabbed Xia Pingan and escaped through the big hole in the wall of the secret room in an instant. From the moment the two appeared to the moment Wei Jiangxing failed to fuse with the realm pearl and was cremated, less than 8 seconds had passed. The assassination was completed in an instant. Until Flame Rhinoceros brought Xia Pingan out of the Morality Fortress, the people in the fortress did not even realize that their guild master Wei Jiangxing had been killed. Just now, some of the people above might have felt the fluctuation of divine power from underground. However, Wei Jiangxing was underground. Those who felt the fluctuation of divine power from underground might have thought that Wei Jiangxing was using some kind of summoning technique. If it was said that Wei Jiangxing was assassinated in less than half a minute after entering the fortress, the people above might not believe it. Child of Fortune locked on to the target and confirmed the time and place of the ambush. Flame Rhinoceros, who controlled the earth burrowing technique, responded to the situation at any time. Xia Pingan and Flame Rhinoceros perfect ambush. Wei Jiangxing's death was not unjust. After a while, in the dense forest 10 miles away from the Morality Fortress, Flame Rhinoceros and Xia Pingan suddenly emerged from the ground. The Morality Fortress in the distance was still peaceful. The Morality sect members were still cheering. All right, the grudge between the two of us is written off. The journey of the martial world is long. Take care of yourselves. As Xia Pingan spoke, he handed Flame Rhinoceros a few realm pearls. Those were the spoils of war just now. Xia Pingan had fused with these realm pearls. They were useless to Xia Pingan. These realm pearls are for your travel expenses. I won't let you work for nothing. Flame Rhinoceros was silent for a while, but he still took the realm pearls from Xia Pingan. He looked deeply at Xia Pingan and said, I didn't think that you would really let me go. Xia Pingan smiled and said, You and I have no grudges. The matters of the martial world should be settled in the martial world. You won't be at ease by my side. Why are you forcing it? If fate wills it, we'll meet again. All right, don't forget to pray for me to live a long life. Haha. After speaking, Xia Pingan turned around. In a few flashes, he was already 100 meters away, flying towards Yushan City. Flame Rhinoceros was also an experienced martial artist. He had seen all kinds of people and experienced all kinds of dangerous situations. However, he had never seen someone like Xia Pingan. He failed to assassinate Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan did not take his life in the end. Originally, Xia Pingan could have made him a slave for the rest of his life, but Xia Pingan let him go. He could even share the spoils of war with Xia Pingan. Flame Rhinoceros stood in the same place, looking at Xia Pingan's disappearing figure. He was stunned for a while, then shook his head and muttered, Damn it, why do I feel a little reluctant? Do I have a tendency to be abused? Thinking of this, Flame Rhinoceros could not help but shiver. He slapped himself in the face and muttered. Then, he burrowed into the ground and headed towards the Shang dynasty. Things in the world were so coincidental. In the eyes of the Golden Moon Temple Master, Wei Jiangxing was someone who could be sacrificed at any time. Therefore, the Golden Moon Temple Master did not tell Wei Jiangxing about the danger of returning to Yushan. The Golden Moon Temple Master even had the idea of using Wei Jiangxing to lure people out. However, the Golden Moon Temple Master would never have thought that Wei Jiangxing, who was already a Sixth Sun Realm expert, would be easily killed in the Morality Fortress a few minutes after returning to the Morality Fortress. He did not put up any resistance or struggle at all. Instead, he was silently fusing with the Realm Pearl. A large number of experts from the Blood Demon Church and the Golden Moon Temple Master followed Wei Jiangxing to Yushan. The distance of a few hundred miles created a time difference. Xia Pingan had already killed Wei Jiangxing and returned to Yushan City. A large number of experts from the Blood Demon Church were still on their way to Yushan City. Of course, Xia Pingan did not expect that after he killed Wei Jiangxing, a greater danger had quietly arrived. Very quickly, Xia Pingan silently returned to the hotel that he had rented in Yushan City. After killing Wei Jiangxing and avenging Lin Qing, Xia Pingan had resolved one of his worries. Xia Pingan suddenly relaxed. Although the Blood Demon Church Temple Master was still alive, Xia Pingan knew that he was still not a match for the Blood Demon Church Temple Master. If he wanted to kill the Blood Demon Church Temple Master, he would have to wait until he reached the Eighth Sun Realm. Where should I go next? After returning to the hotel, Xia Pingan looked at the Yushan city that was lit up with lights outside the hotel. This question flashed through his mind as he started to think about where he should go next. Yushan city was a lawless place with all sorts of people. This place was suitable for escaping, but definitely not for cultivation, especially for someone like Xia Pingan. Although a few rare realm pearls would occasionally appear in the auction house here, the number of rare realm pearls here was far too few. The cultivation resources here were relatively poor, and it was completely incomparable to places like Shangjing City. If he continued to stay here, he might not be able to advance to the Sixth Sun realm even after 10 years. Therefore, Xia Pingan would leave Yushan City. However, he had not thought about where to go after leaving Yushan City. Xia Pingan had not thought about it yet. Xia Pingan wanted to go to a place with many rare realm pearls. It seemed like some void secret realms had rich cultivation resources. However, void secret realms had all sorts of strange things. Xia Pingan was not sure which one was the most suitable for him. He still needed to spend time to gather relevant information before he could make the right decision. That's right, Wei Jiangxing had dropped many items and realm pearls. He had not checked them carefully. Now, he could see what he could use. Outside Yushan City. After leaving Yushan City for tens of miles, Yen Rhinoceros came out from the ground. Seeing that there was no one around, he stuck close to the ground and rushed towards the border. Flying in the air looked good, but it was too eye-catching. He could expose his location at any time. To an assassin, that was the most stupid thing to do. Unless he had no choice, a top assassin would not fly in the air and expose his location. The higher he flew, the faster he would die. This was a famous saying in the assassin circle. To Yen Rhinoceros, the best way to escape was to stick close to the ground and use the terrain as cover to escape. If he met with danger, he could escape underground immediately. Just as he was about 50 to 60 miles away, Yen Rhinoceros felt some movement in the forest in front of him. Yen Rhinoceros's expression changed slightly. Without thinking, he dived underground. A few seconds later, a two-headed white-haired demon wolf rushed out from the valley in front of him. Behind the two-headed white-haired demon wolf, there was a huge group of blood demon sect experts. They were filled with killing intent. They stuck close to the ground and followed the two-headed white-haired demon wolf. Yen Rhinoceros wanted to return to Deshang Nation from Yushan City, while those people wanted to return to Yushan City from Deshang Nation. Unknowingly, the routes of both parties met in the wilderness. Chapter 356. Wei Jiangxing was indeed the altar lord of the Blood Demon Church in Serene Mountain, a hidden giant. He had a lot of things on him. Xia Pingan was in the hotel room, taking stock of his gains that night. He was overjoyed. For a summoner, carrying a bit of food and gold coins in their spatial equipment was the most basic thing they could do. On the contrary, Wei Jiangxing didn't bring many gold coins with him, only a few tens of thousands. Usually, he wouldn't be able to spend his money. Instead, he brought more than 600,000 gold coins with him from the Shang dynasty, which was not a small fortune. In addition to the gold notes, Xia Pingan found a few special things in the bottles and jars on Wei Jiangxing's body. In a pitch-black medicine bottle, there were the words "black poison" on the outside. This black poison was the same as the black poison that Xia Pingan was almost assassinated by the nightmare demon. It was just that the amount of black poison in the bottle was very sufficient. In addition to the black poison, there was also a porcelain white bottle with the words "Iron Stone Blooming" on it. This bottle also scared Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan had heard of the name Iron Stone Blooming, but had never seen it. According to legend, this thing was known as the world's best aphrodisiac. This aphrodisiac was said to be able to make a stone bloom if it was dropped on it, let alone a human. Legend had it that this thing could make a summoner below the 9th level fall for it. He did not know where Wei Jiangxing got it from. The third bottle was a black crystal bottle with the words Immortal Elixir on it. Just by opening the bottle of Immortal Elixir, a strange fragrance entered Xia Pingan's nostrils. It made Xia Pingan feel as if all the pores on his body had opened. It was exceptionally comfortable, and the blood in his body became lively. There were still 6 immortal elixirs in the bottle. This item should be a rare item even in the Blood Demon Church. Looking at the bottle of immortal pills, Xia Pingan thought of Wei Jiangxing's terrifying regenerative abilities when he killed him. Could it be that Wei Jiangxing's terrifying regenerative abilities came from these immortal pills? No matter what, the immortal elixir was definitely a good item for the experts of the Blood Demon Church to scramble for it. It was a good treasure. Xia Pingan carefully kept it. Other than that, Wei Jiangxing also had over 30 realm beads and 7 to 8 spiritual sense crystals. Those spiritual sense crystals were useless to Xia Pingan, but they might be of great use to others. As for the realm pearls on Wei Jiangxing's body, most of them had been merged by Xia Pingan, but there were still 2 realm pearls, which made Xia Pingan overjoyed. One of the 2 world pearls was the Giant's World Pearl, which had a few words flashing within it: "You the great harvest's giants." Previously, Xia Pingan had seen the same realm pearl at the Rock King auction house. Unfortunately, he had not been able to bid for it. He had not expected to unexpectedly obtain it in Secluded Mountain. Apart from this realm pearl, the other realm pearl also surprised Xia Pingan. This was because the Xiaozhuan in the realm pearl had a name that most people were not familiar with: Chen Zhenlong. Chen Zhenlong was very famous in history. He was the father of Chinese sweet potatoes. Chen Zhenlong was a great person who had made indelible contributions to the Chinese food industry in the Ming dynasty. Chen Zhenlong's historical achievements were almost comparable to Yuan Shenlong's in the future. Among Wei Jiangxing's spiritual sense crystals, there were no corresponding spiritual sense crystals for these 2 realm pearls. Therefore, Xia Pingan was not sure whether Wei Jiangxing had merged with these 2 realm pearls or not because he did not have the corresponding spiritual sense crystals. However, no matter what, these 2 realm pearls were now his. Xia Pingan had been coveting the Giant's realm pearl for a long time. Tonight, he had obtained it. Just as he was about to take out the Giant's realm pearl to merge with, a black shadow flashed in the house. Flaming Rhinoceros came out from the ground and pounced into the house. He stumbled and fell to the ground. Xia Pingan was shocked. The flame rhinoceros that jumped out from the ground was covered in blood. There were more than 10 wounds on its body that could be seen with the naked eye. Most of its clothes were burnt. There was a wound on its shoulder that even exposed the bone. There was a trace of black smoke lingering around the wound. It was a terrible sight. When Flaming Rhinoceros separated, he was still alive. How did he become like this in the blink of an eye? Xia Pingan rushed to Flaming Rhinoceros's side and helped him up. What happened? Flaming Rhinoceros's face was pale gold. There was still blood coming out of his nose and mouth. He opened his eyes and looked at Xia Pingan. He panted heavily. His face was filled with anxiety as he said, "Leave quickly. The Blood Demon Church has discovered your whereabouts. A large number of experts from the Blood Demon Church are rushing towards Yushan City. Before they know where you are, leave quickly. Any later, it will be too late." As Flaming Rhinoceros spoke, he spat out large chunks of blood. There were pieces of his organs in the blood. Xia Pingan's expression changed when he saw this. Flaming Rhinoceros's injuries were very serious. Xia Pingan checked Flaming Rhinoceros's body. He realized that Flaming Rhinoceros's internal organs looked like they had been squeezed out from a road roller. Many of his organs were broken. Not only that, even Flaming Rhinoceros's secret mandala seemed to have been shaken violently and was showing signs of instability. To be able to injure Flaming Rhinoceros like this, it was definitely an expert above the 7 Sun realm. Looking at the flame rhinoceros's appearance, Xia Pingan gritted his teeth. Without even thinking, he took out the bottle containing the immortal pills that he had just obtained, and poured out 2 fiery red immortal pills from the bottle. He pinched open the flame rhinoceros's mouth, and without another word, poured them into the flame rhinoceros's mouth. "Hurry up and swallow it." Flaming Rhinoceros swallowed the 2 immortal elixirs along with the fresh blood that was about to gush out of his mouth. The immortal elixirs were indeed miraculous. After swallowing the 2 immortal elixirs, within a few seconds, Flaming Rhinoceros's wounds began to stop bleeding and heal. Flaming Rhinoceros's pale gold face regained some color. Flaming Rhinoceros's internal organs were also recovering rapidly. However, his secret mandala was still shaking. What did you feed me?" Flaming Rhinoceros's eyes regained its spirit. "Immortal elixirs. Damn it, immortal elixirs, this is a treasure. The injuries on my body, 1 is enough, 2 is too much of a waste." Flaming Rhinoceros grinned and struggled to stand up. He sat down on a chair and panted heavily. He wiped the fresh blood from the corner of his mouth and said, "I almost couldn't make it back. What's going on?" "You have the mark of the Demon Wolf clan's vengeance curse. Do you remember the 2-headed white demon wolf that escaped after failing to kill Turi? That 2-headed white demon wolf could feel the mark of the Demon Wolf clan's vengeance curse on your body," Flaming Rhinoceros said. Under the effect of the 2 immortal elixirs, his body was recovering rapidly. That 2-headed white demon wolf found the people from the Blood Demon sect. "Just now when I was leaving Yushan City, I met them halfway. They are coming to Yushan City to look for you." Flaming Rhinoceros grinned and said, "Damn it, if you die, I won't be able to live either. I made up my mind and suddenly emerged from the ground and killed the 2-headed white demon wolf that was leading the way. However, when I was escaping, I was almost killed by the people from the Blood Demon sect. The Lord of the Golden Moon Temple from the Blood Demon sect is also here. They will arrive at Yushan City soon." Xia Pingan sucked in a breath of cold air and broke out in cold sweat. The Demon Wolf clan's vengeance curse on his body was left on Earth. He did not expect that the people from the Demon Wolf clan would sense it in Yushan City. Fortunately, Flaming Rhinoceros killed that guy. Otherwise, he would not even know how he died. "If I leave, you will also die if you stay. In your current state, you have already met the people from the Blood Demon sect. How can you escape from the Blood Demon sect's pursuit?" Flaming Rhinoceros laughed bitterly. "It's better than both of us dying together." The Lord of the Blood Demon sect's Golden Moon Temple is an expert of the 8 Suns realm. Even if both of us are tied together, we won't even be able to withstand 1 finger of his. Just as Flaming Rhinoceros finished speaking, Xia Pingan felt a strong wave of god power in the sky outside. Boy Fu Shun immediately jumped out of Xia Pingan's secret mandala and came to the roof of the hotel. He raised his head and looked at the night sky. He saw that in the sky above Yushan City, there were hundreds of black figures floating in the sky. There were also black figures flying around Yushan City. The entire Yushan City was surrounded. Chapter 357. Secluded Mountain City was originally a chaotic place. The sudden arrival of the divine power in the sky alarmed the entire secluded mountain city. With the arrival of the Blood Demon sect, the secluded mountain city became restless. The summoners, orcs, and even the sorcerers of the Demon Wolf clan all came out of their houses when they felt the presence of the divine power. In an instant, many figures flew into the sky from all over the secluded mountain city, wanting to investigate the situation. So fast. Yen Shi also felt it. He raised his head and looked at the roof. His chest rose and fell. They are rushing in so brazenly. It seems like they will not give up until they get what they want. They must find you. Leave quickly. Xia Pingan frowned slightly. The more dangerous the situation was, the calmer Xia Pingan became. His mind was clear as he quickly planned and analyzed the situation in front of him. At this time, panicking was courting death. Maybe the situation is not that bad. Since you have killed Sorcerer Mo Lang, the Blood Demon sect will not be able to find me in a short period of time. They will also not be able to confirm whether I am in secluded Mountain City. The most important point is that until now, they have not been able to confirm whether the person who appeared in secluded Mountain City is me or another spacewalker. Xia Pingon calmly analyzed the situation in front of him. They don't know it is you? Xia Pingon's gaze deepened. Of course they don't know. The Sorcerer Mo Lang that you killed could only confirm that there was a spacewalker in secluded mountain who killed his clan member. There are so many spacewalkers, how can they be sure that it is me? If they can confirm that I am in secluded mountain, the one who came to secluded mountain now is the leader of the Blood Demon sect. Also, Wei Jiangxing has been killed by us. Once they find out that Wei Jiangxing has been killed, they will be at a loss and will be even more anxious. Why? If I were the Lord of the Golden Moon Hall of the Blood Demon sect, I would think that after killing Wei Jiangxing, the killer might have already left Yushan and would not continue to stay in Yushan. The people of the Blood Demon sect that you met outside Yushan City can prove this point. Let me ask you, under such circumstances, do you think they would continue to search in Yushan City, or would they immediately leave Yushan City to search for someone? If those people from the Blood Demon sect were not flustered and exasperated, they would not have charged into Yushan City so brazenly. Since they are in such a hurry, it means that they have lost their composure. What you said makes sense. Flaming Rhino nodded and raised his head to look at the roof. In the night sky outside, there was already the aura of the collision of technique. His eyebrows twitched again. Damn it, hurry up and turn me into a bird. I feel that the possibility of me surviving as a bird is greater. If those people from the Blood Demon Church see me like this, both of us are finished. Xia Pingon nodded and did not say anything. He pointed at Flaming Rhino and with a bang, Flaming Rhino's body turned into an eagle owl in the smoke. After turning into a bird, Flaming Rhino's clothes fell to the ground with a crash. Xia Pingon kept Flaming Rhino's clothes and cleaned up the traces left behind by Flaming Rhino. In the whole house, there was only him and a bird left. Just like when he first came to the inn, he did not attract any attention at all. Xia Pingon pushed open the door of the house and calmly walked into the courtyard. He raised his head to look at the night sky and saw that in the night sky, the brilliance of the fireballs of the summoners were like fireworks blooming in the sky, lighting up the night sky. The entire Yushan City could see it, and even the ordinary people were alarmed. A strong dragon could not suppress a snake in its old haunts. With so many experts from the Blood Demon sect here, it would be strange if the local snakes of Yushan City did not do anything. At this moment, in the night sky of Yushan City, other than the people from the Blood Demon sect, many summoners and mages of Yushan City had already soared into the sky. The collision of fireballs was just a test to the summoners. Seeing that Xia Pingon had left the house, Flaming Rhino flapped its wings and flew out of the house. It jumped onto Xia Pingon's shoulder and looked at the scene in the sky with Xia Pingon. Who are you people? In the night sky, a summoner with white hair and beard released another fireball to cancel out the opponent's fireball. It exploded in the sky and he quickly retreated and asked loudly. The people from the Blood Demon sect were all wearing the same ghost mask. They were cold and strong. The number of experts from the Blood Demon sect made all the mages and summoners of Yushan City fearful. In the entire Yushan City, all the summoners of the Four Sun Realm and above added together were not as many as these people in front of them. The abilities of both parties were not on the same level. One of the experts from the Blood Demon sect who was fighting with the summoner shot out an icicle and chased over. A snake person mage beside him waved his hand, and a black smoke shot out like an arrow and destroyed the icicle. Both parties did not use their full strength, and were only testing the waters in the air. Facing these people who had suddenly arrived, all the summoners and mages of the various powers and races in Yushan City had unknowingly stood on the same side. Both parties were in a stalemate. The cake in Yushan City had already been split and was now in a relatively stable state. Now that these people had suddenly appeared, everyone was worried that it would affect their own interests. Naturally, they had to unite against them. From now on, no one in Yushan City is allowed to leave. Those who try to escape will be killed without mercy. The expert from the Blood Demon sect who was wearing a golden mask said coldly in the night sky. The local snakes of Serene Mountain who flew into the sky were shocked and angry. Who are you? What right do you have to give orders in Yushan and order us around? A Naga sorcerer started making a ruckus. He flicked his tongue about a foot away and glared at the people from the Blood Demon Church with his golden eyes. The secluded mountain is our territory. Even the Shang dynasty can't occupy it. Can't we just swallow the entire secluded mountain? Oh, is that so? A cold voice suddenly sounded. As soon as he finished speaking, the Lord of the Golden Moon Palace of the Blood Demon Church suddenly appeared beside the Naga sorcerer who had just spoken. He grabbed the Naga sorcerer's head with one hand, and a cloud of rolling blood-red mist directly enveloped the Naga sorcerer's body. Then, the Naga sorcerer screamed loudly. When the other two snake-person mages saw this, they were shocked. Without thinking, they raised their hands and two fire snakes and two streams of black smoke flew out from their hands and blasted towards the Golden Moon Hall Master. This time, it was no longer a spar but an all-out attack. The Golden Moon Hall Master's face revealed a cruel smile. He stretched out one hand and a blood-red hand appeared in the air. The blood-red hand easily shattered the two fire snakes and the two streams of black smoke. It scooped up the two snake-person mages in the air and squeezed. Bang! Bang! The bodies of the two snake-person mages were like two small earthworms under the blood-red hand. They had no power to resist and were directly crushed. Their internal organs and flesh turned into a bloody pulp, overflowing from the gaps between the fingers of the blood-red hand and sprinkling down from the air. The Yushan natives in the air were shocked. Their faces changed dramatically and they broke out in cold sweat. They quickly retreated. The two snake-person mages who were crushed were two masters of the Yushan snake-person tribe. Their strength was close to the Five Suns realm. They did not expect that such snake-person mages would be crushed to death by the evil-looking young man. What kind of magic was that? The body of the snake person who was screaming in pain in the hands of the Golden Moon Hall Master shrunk little by little under the pressure of the red fog. Finally, under the gaze of the crowd, it turned into a wriggling snake. The Golden Moon Hall Master opened his blood-red lips and revealed his snow-white teeth. He threw the small snake into his mouth and chewed it a few times as if he was eating a spicy strip. He directly swallowed the small snake and wiped his mouth. A cold smile appeared on his face. With such strength, is it enough? The Blood Demon Church. Finally, a summoner exclaimed. The Blood Demon Church wants to find someone in Yushan City. Whoever disagrees can step out now. The Golden Moon Hall Master coldly scanned the people in the air. Everyone turned pale and no one dared to step out. Once the Golden Moon Hall Master made his move, the Yushan natives all fell from the sky and no one dared to make a sound. At this moment, the Golden Moon Hall Master was filled with murderous intent and anger. Just now, he went to the Morality Castle and found out that Wei Jiangxing had been killed in such a short time. He died under the Golden Moon Castle and turned into ashes. Once Wei Jiangxing and the Demon Wolf Sorcerer died, the Golden Moon Hall Master's plan was ruined. In less than an hour, the situation in Yushan City had changed drastically. Now, even the Golden Moon Hall Master did not know whether the spacewalker who appeared in Yushan City was Xia Pingan or someone else. Was that person still in Yushan City? Once Wei Jiangxing died, The murderer might have left Yushan City overnight. Seeing that the opportunity to become a god had slipped through his fingers, the Golden Moon Hall Master was furious. The 3 Snake People sorcerers were unlucky to have fallen into his hands and allowed him to establish his power. Should he continue to search in Yushan City or immediately send people to pursue? At this time, the Golden Moon Hall Master was also hesitating. But in the end, he had to make a difficult decision and gave a few orders. Following the orders of the Golden Moon Hall Master, the experts of the Blood Demon Church immediately split into a few groups. 4 of them, with Yushan City as the center, headed towards the north, south, east and west directions of Yushan City to see if they could find any traces. Another group of people went to the territory of the Demon Wolf clan in the north to find a few demon wolves who were related to the Demon Wolf sorcerer and could sense the curse mark of the Demon Wolf clan to come to Yushan City. The Golden Moon Hall Master continued to lead people to seal off Yushan City and did not let go of any chance. When the Lord of Golden Moon Palace gave his orders, Blessing's boy floated in the air and listened to his every command. Chapter 2 later. Chapter 358. 3 days later, Xia Pingon sat in a room on the 4th floor of the Heaven Song restaurant in Yushan City. He looked at the long queue that was 1,000 meters away from Yen Mountain City and used a silver spoon to take small sips of Heaven Song restaurant's famous bird's nest 8 treasures porridge. He smiled in disdain. On the window beside Xia Pingon there was a bird rack. On the rack there was a listless eagle owl. For 3 whole days, Xia Pingon did not go anywhere. He just stayed in Yushan City and watched as the Blood Demon sect anxiously wreaked havoc in Yushan City. Nothing happened to him. The queue in the distance was the queue that was leaving the city. Everyone who wanted to leave Yushan City had to be checked by the experts of the Blood Demon sect. The so-called check was to let the people of the Blood Demon sect use a mirror to see what they looked like. The people in the queue were angry but did not dare to say anything. They could only accept the check obediently. This was because at the entrance there was a row of bloody heads. Some of the heads belonged to humans, some belonged to beasts, and some belonged to demon wolves. The reason why these heads were hanging there was because they did not obey the orders of the Blood Demon sect and wanted to leave Yushan City. They then clashed with the Blood Demon sect. In just 2 days, hundreds of people were killed in Yushan City. There were people from the Blood Demon sect guarding the entrances and exits of Yushan City. Those who left the city had to use a mirror to look at their faces. There were also people from the Blood Demon sect patrolling the sky. From a certain perspective, Yushan City had temporarily fallen. In front of the bloody methods of the Blood Demon sect, those who once occupied Yushan City were all silent. They all pinched their noses and silently agreed with the current situation of Yushan City. What do you think this is? When did Yushan City become the territory of the Blood Demon sect? Inside the Heaven Song restaurant, a few tables of people who were having their meals shook their heads and sighed as they complained. The Righteous Gang, the Fire Dragon Pavilion, the Heavenly King's Residence, the Orc Alliance, the Divine Snake Mountain, and the Demon Wolf City. Aren't these people usually quite arrogant? Why are they so quiet now? Lower your voice. I heard that the Hall Master of the Blood Demon sect's Golden Moon Hall is here. He is a true 8-Sun Realm expert. No one in Yushan City can beat him. We can only lower our heads. Didn't the Blood Demon sect want to find Xia Pingon? It has been so many days. How can Xia Pingon still be in Yushan City? He must have run away. Furthermore, we have not heard of such a person coming to Yushan City before. I also feel that even if Xia Pingon came to Yushan City before, it has been so many days. Xia Pingon would not stay here obediently. Don't worry, the Blood Demon sect will not stay in Yushan City for long. At a table not far away, an old man with a white beard who was followed by 2 bodyguards sneered. The Blood Demon sect has caused so much trouble in the Great Shang Nation. The entire Great Shang Nation is hunting down the Blood Demon sect. Once the Great Shang Nation knows that so many people from the Blood Demon sect have gathered in Yushan City, there will definitely be a reaction. Since that night, the people from the Great Shang Nation in Yushan City have all disappeared. The people from the Great Shang Nation have already hidden and spread the news. Now, perhaps the experts from the Great Shang Nation are already on their way to Yushan City. Let's watch the show. Oh, so it is Master Ma-san. You are also here to eat porridge today? Among the guests in the Heaven Song restaurant, someone immediately recognized the old man and greeted him. That old man seemed to be an important person in Yushan City. Our family's stockyard business has also stopped. I've been bored at home for the past 2 days, so I came out for a walk. Our Yushan City can maintain its status today, which is the result of the compromise of several big powers. It's all about balance. Behind the orcs and the demon wolves, there are powerful people from their own tribes. If anyone wants to break the balance, the other parties will never agree. Master Ma stroked his beard. Brilliant, brilliant. Now that Master Ma-san said so, we are relieved. Eagle Owl, who was standing on the bird stand, listened to the discussions of the people in the Heaven Song restaurant. He looked at Xia Pingon, who was eating porridge leisurely with his big eyes. He was already admiring Xia Pingon. Obviously, there was a huge crisis in front of them, but the person involved in the crisis acted as if nothing had happened. Sometimes, in the face of a crisis, it was more difficult to stay still. Staying still required more courage and wisdom than moving. Flame Rhinoceros asked himself, if he was Xia Pingon, he would definitely want to escape from Yushan City that night. However, Xia Pingon chose to stay. This required a good assessment of the situation, accurate and sharp judgment and vision, and the courage to remain calm even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of them. Xia Pingon had been dancing on the edge of a knife for the past 3 days in Yushan City. Those people from the Blood Demon sect were right in front of him, but he was not injured at all. He could even sit here and eat bird's nest porridge. What was ability? This was ability. At the same time, on the highest peak outside Yushan City, the Golden Moon Temple Master was standing on the peak. He looked at a huge ritual implement in front of him with a cold expression. The celestial device placed in front of the Lord of Golden Moon Palace was more than 5 meters high. The whole celestial device looked like a huge egg. There was a dragon at each of the 8 corners of the celestial device, namely the east, south, west, north, southeast, southwest, northeast, and northwest. There was a toad under each dragon's mouth, corresponding to the 8 directions around it. If Xia Pingon was here and saw the ritual implement, he would definitely exclaim, "Isn't this a seismograph?" Compared to the seismograph, the strange part was the middle part of the ritual implement. The middle part of the ritual implement was blurry, like a circular window. The entire underground situation of Yushan City could be seen through the light and shadow of the ritual implement. The flow of the underground water in Yushan City, the number of pangolins in the mountain, and the number of people in the underground tunnels of Yushan City could all be seen through the ritual implement. In short, this ritual implement could monitor everything that could move underground. Under the surveillance of this ritual implement, techniques such as Earth Escape would not be able to escape. In addition to this immortal treasure, the Golden Moon Temple Master had summoned thousands of shadowless blood bats to fly around in the sky. Together with the experts from the Blood Demon Church in the sky, they sealed off the entire sky of Yushan City. Underground, in the sky, and on the ground, the 3 of them were one. There were no blind spots. Now, in the entire Yushan City, even a bird would need the permission of the Blood Demon sect if it wanted to fly out. The Golden Moon Temple Master did not look good. He had been guarding here for 3 days and found nothing. This made him suspect that the person might have already left Yushan City, and he was busy for nothing. Or, this time, the situation in Yushan City could be that there was a spacewalker in Yushan City who purposely leaked his whereabouts so that the demon wolf sorcerer could sense it and attract the attention of the blood demon sect. In the past 2 months, Xia Pingon had appeared many times in and around the Great Shang Nation. In the end, each time, someone had deliberately set up a trap. They had been here for a few days. The movements in the Great Shang Nation were getting bigger and bigger. The pressure was also increasing. The search team of the Blood Demon sect at the border of Yushan City had already fought with the summoners of the Great Shang Nation's border army several times. There were already casualties. However, the Golden Moon Temple Master had to persist and give himself and the people of the Blood Demon sect an explanation. What if the person who appeared here was really Xia Pingon and Xia Pingon was still in the city? Once such an opportunity was missed, it would be a missed opportunity to become a god. As long as the demon wolf sorcerer who could sense the vengeful curse mark of the demon wolf clan was here, it would soon be clear whether that person was still in the city. Thinking of this, the Golden Moon Temple Master suddenly felt something. He looked towards the sky in the north. Finally, there was a trace of joy on his cold face. Reporting to the Golden Moon Temple Master, there are not many sorcerers in the Saga Demon Wolf clan. Previously, the Saga Demon Wolf clan lost in the internal strife of the Demon Wolf clan. Many of them have been killed and some have been exiled. We only found 2. A team of experts from the Blood Demon sect returned with 2 demon wolf sorcerers who were trembling with fear and greed in their eyes. They were reporting to the Lord of the Golden Moon Palace. The Golden Moon Temple Master took a deep breath and said, "Bring them to Yushan City and search separately." Yes. 2 teams of experts from the Blood Demon sect brought the 2 demon wolf sorcerers and entered Yushan City from the north and south. They began to search. At the top of the Heaven Song Tower, Xia Pingon narrowed his eyes and suddenly became alert. Is he here? The sensing of the vengeful curse mark of the Demon Wolf clan was not without a distance limit. This kind of sensing could only be sensed when it was within a certain range. Once it was far away, it could not be sensed. This sensing range was about less than a kilometer. Yushan City was a big basin. Although it was not very big, it could accommodate a kilometer. At this moment, Boy of Blessings became busy. He began to jump around the 2 demon wolf sorcerers and pass the location information to Xia Pingon. After sitting at the top of the Heaven Song Tower for a while, Xia Pingon paid the bill and carried the bird rack downstairs. He began to walk around Yushan City. More than 20 minutes later, under the silent and slightly hostile gaze of Master Ma and the others in the Heavenly Song Building, a team of masters of the Bloody Demon Church and a demon wolf master walked past the street below the Heavenly Song Building, looking left and right. At this moment, Xia Pingon was trying on clothes in a clothing store more than 2 kilometers away. After trying on the clothes for a while in the boutique, Xia Pingon left the boutique and sat down in a waterside pavilion on a nearby street. A search team with magic wolves and mages were walking on the street 1,000 meters away from the boutique. After sitting at the waterside pavilion for more than 20 minutes, Xia Pingon carried the bird rack and left the waterside pavilion. He went all the way south and found a tea house to drink tea leisurely. Half an hour later, Xia Pingon left the tea house and went to an opera house to listen to people perform. After a while, Xia Pingon came out of the opera house and continued to walk around the streets of Yushan City. At this moment, if someone could make a mark on the 2 demon wolf sorcerers and Xia Pingon in the sky, they would definitely realize that these 3 marks were constantly moving around Yushan City, forming a stable triangle. The marks of the 2 demon wolf sorcerers seemed to have searched the entire Yushan City a few times. As for Xia Pingon's mark, it was constantly moving around the city. However, it was always at least a kilometer away from the marks of the other 2 demon wolf sorcerers. The 2 demon wolf sorcerers and 2 teams of experts from the Blood Demon sect searched from morning to night, from dawn to dusk. They had walked through every road in Yushan City more than once, but the two demon wolf sorcerers did not sense anything. Chapter 359. It was already late into the night. Palace Master. We have searched the entire secluded mountain city multiple times today. We have searched every corner more than once, but we have not found anything. On the highest peak outside secluded mountain city, the Golden Moon Palace Master listened to his subordinate's report. He looked down at secluded mountain city and waved his hand, passed down the order, everyone evacuate. Yes. Previously, the Golden Moon Palace Master had suspected that the target had left the city. Today's search confirmed his guess. During the search today, the entire Yushan city was under the surveillance of the Blood Demon sect. Among the experts of the Blood Demon sect who were following the two demonic wolves, 2 of them had already used a secret technique of the Blood Demon sect. As long as someone was following the 2 demonic wolves and the search team, they would be locked on immediately. Other than that, the air and underground of secluded mountain city were heavily guarded. No one flew into the sky, no one burrowed into the ground, and no one moved quickly to hide in the city. Under such circumstances, the 2 teams searched the city multiple times but did not find anything. This could only mean that the person had already left secluded mountain city. If that person was still around, the Golden Moon Palace Master could not imagine what kind of ability that person had to be able to hide so well under such a search. He was a little unwilling, a little regretful, but also a little relieved. This was how the Golden Moon Palace Master felt at the moment. Once the Golden Moon Palace Master gave the order, the experts of the Blood Demon sect at the various checkpoints in secluded mountain city rose into the sky and were about to leave. But at this moment, a thin flame suddenly flew from the sky to the east of secluded mountain city like a meteor. The speed of the flame was unbelievably fast. At first, it was still 100 miles away, but in the blink of an eye, it had already flown tens of miles away. Looking again, it was about to reach secluded mountain city. The bright fiery light penetrated through the clouds, illuminating the night sky orange. After the thin fiery light flew past, a thunder-like rumbling sound came from the sky. The clouds in the sky were stirred up, revealing a clear path of the fiery light. Ling Weiyue, are you in a hurry to leave? It's been more than 60 years since the last time we met in the Chaos Divine world. Your little face hasn't changed at all, ha ha ha. Seeing the flame and hearing the voice, the Golden Moon Palace Master's childish face turned frosty. His eyes were filled with boundless killing intent as he stared at the flame. His blood-red lips opened slightly as he spat out 4 words through gritted teeth, "The Fire Lord of Heaven." Seeing the fiery light rushing towards the Golden Moon Hall Master, the group of experts from the Blood Demon Church, who were originally at the south of Yushan City, did not hesitate to stop it. The rules of the Blood Demon Church were strict. If they did not stop anyone who was targeting the Lord of Golden Moon Temple, they would end up in a miserable state. All of a sudden, the brilliance of all kinds of summoning techniques blossomed in the sky, and all of them blasted toward that streak of fiery light. That streak of fiery light did not dodge, but suddenly exploded. It was as if a hole had been opened in the blue sky. Boundless flames spread out in the sky like a broken dam. The rolling waves of fire completely ignored all the attacks and directly swept through. All the attacks that came in contact with the rolling waves of fire were like guns and cannons that came in contact with the rolling waves of fire. They only stirred up a small wave and were annihilated in the blink of an eye. They could not stop the direction of the waves of fire at all. There were about 40 to 50 experts from the Blood Demon Church who attacked. Their faces changed drastically, but they did not even have time to escape before they were annihilated by the waves of fire. In an instant, those experts from the Blood Demon Church turned into ashes. The spatial equipment that they had integrated with all exploded. All kinds of things, such as gold coins, elixirs, celestial weapons, fell from the sky like rain. The rolling waves of fire lit up the entire sky of Yushan City completely. So powerful! Xia Pingan stood on the streets of Yushan City. He raised his head and looked at the night sky of Yushan City that was lit up by the waves of fire. He was dazzled and his mouth was a little dry. This was the first time that Xia Pingan had seen such an expert attack in front of him. It was too powerful. The iron-masked man and Lin Yi were also very powerful. However, Xia Pingan had never felt such an overbearing and overwhelming power from them. Those experts from the Blood Demon Church who attacked in the sky just now were summoners who were above the 4-sun realm. There were quite a few who were at the 5-sun realm, and there seemed to be some who were at the 6-sun realm. However, when that person attacked, they were all crushed in an instant. They did not even have the ability to resist. The gap between high-level summoners was like a chasm. It was really terrifying. With just one move, those experts from the Blood Demon Church, who were flying in the sky, were like birds that were startled by the twang of a bow. They immediately scattered in all directions. The entire Yushan City was silent in front of the waves of fire that lit up the night sky. There were many people who were daring enough to risk their lives in Yushan City. Some of them saw many things falling from the sky. The sky was filled with gold coins that fell like golden snowflakes. Under the light of the fire, they shone with a golden light. It was like a bright golden waterfall that fell from the sky. It was very tempting. Many people did not even think and rushed towards the place where the items fell. The Great Shang Nation, the experts from the Great Shang Nation are here in the inn beside Xia Pingan. Many people stuck their heads out of the windows of the inn and looked at the sky. They shouted excitedly. Yushan City had been too repressed these few days. They had been bullied by the Blood Demon Church. Seeing that there were experts coming, they immediately became happy. Xia Pingan did not move. He just stood at his original position and raised his head. He looked at the bright sky. On the bird's stand in his hand, the silly bird opened its mouth slightly and looked at the night sky in shock. Many people might not even see such an expert attack in their lifetime. Ling Wuyue, it has been a long time since someone called me by this name. Seeing a large number of his experts being killed in front of him, the Golden Moon Temple Master's face was cold. It was as if he was watching a group of insects being trampled to death in front of him. He gently raised his hand, and the experts of the Blood Demon Church in the sky immediately flew towards the west as if they had been pardoned. They did not dare to stay for a moment longer. Yes, those friends who called you by this name that day were all killed by you. Li Fire Heaven Lord walked out of the fire waves that filled the sky. With a gentle wave of his sleeves, he did not take away a single cloud. The flames that filled the sky instantly vanished. He was able to retract and release them freely, as though they had never appeared. Li Fire Heaven Lord looked at the Golden Moon Temple Master with a complicated gaze. There was killing intent in his indifference, determination, and a trace of pity. There are many wronged souls on the road to becoming a god. Today you have become the famous Li Fire Heaven Lord. Do you think the number of people who died at your hands is less than the number who died at my hands? The Golden Moon Temple Master sneered. Li Fire Heaven Lord shook his head and walked towards the Golden Moon Temple Master step by step in the sky. I am different from you. I have killed many people, but I have never harmed my friends. You're wrong. I've never harmed my friends because I don't need any friends. I don't have any friends. I only need a stepping stone on the road to becoming a god. The Lord of Golden Moon Palace's eyes were cold and his lips curled into a disdainful smile. So, your stepping stone includes Xiao Wu. As Li Fire Heaven Lord spoke, his gaze became colder and colder. However, the aura on his body suddenly became more intense. Shut up! The Golden Moon Temple Master suddenly roared. His eyes became ferocious and a layer of scales appeared on his forehead. The aura on his body suddenly became crazy, and a tumbling blood cloud appeared behind him. It covered the sky and the moon. It was as if countless demons and ghosts were about to pounce out from the blood cloud. Hee, is this your road to becoming a god? In the end, you have turned yourself into something that is neither human nor ghost. I have not seen you for decades. Let me see how strong you are today. As the Fire Heaven Lord spoke, 3 horizontal lines appeared above his head. The middle one of the 3 lines broke apart, bringing with it an unfathomable heavenly might and endless flames as it suddenly descended. The flames and blood cloud began to collide in the sky above secluded Mountain City. They wanted to devour each other. The violent collision produced a loud rumbling sound that reverberated in the sky like thunder that was the hexagram. On the ground, Xia Ping looked at the 3 horizontal lines that were emitting boundless power in the sky. He was stunned and had an indescribable feeling. Chapter 360. The battle in the sky was beyond the comprehension and imagination of ordinary people. From Xia Ping's point of view, the battle in the sky was like 2 spaces colliding and trying to swallow each other. In the flames and blood clouds, the Fire Lord of Heaven and the Golden Moon Temple Master had disappeared. They could not be seen on the ground. Occasionally, a streak of blood light and flames would overflow from the sky. It was majestic and spanned dozens of miles. The overflowing streak of blood light hit the mountain outside secluded Mountain City. The plants on the mountain instantly withered and lost all their vitality. The overflowing flame landed on the mountain outside the city. With a loud boom, it burned a huge, smoking, pitch-black hole on the mountaintop. The inside of the hole was like the crater of a volcano as it was filled with red magma. If an ordinary summoner were to face such a battle, they would be injured or killed even if they were 10 miles away. The blood light and flames in the sky lit up the entire secluded Mountain City like it was daytime. The entire secluded Mountain City was trembling from the collision, and all living things were silent. Fortunately, such a battle did not last long. In less than half an hour, the streak of blood light suddenly became a streak of blood and disappeared towards the west. Then, the flames disappeared too. They became a streak of fire and chased after the streak of blood light. The entire sky of secluded Mountain City darkened and returned to its night state. The brilliance of the stars and the 2 moons in the sky was revealed again. If it weren't for the smoke rising from the flattened mountain outside the city and the fiery red lava flowing down, the battle just now would have seemed like it had never happened. Woo! 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 The sound of the eagle owl and the flapping of its wings finally woke Xia Ping, who was immersed in the battle between the experts. Looking at the 3 horizontal lines of the Li trigram and the flames that filled the sky, Xia Ping felt something in his heart and thought of many things. He also vaguely touched a trace of the secrets of the world of the strong. His mind could not help but be immersed in it. The Blood Demon church members in Yushan City had all disappeared. At this moment, Yushan City regained its commotion, and it was the best time to leave Yushan City. Let's go, Xia Ping said to the eagle owl. The eagle owl immediately rose from its perch and flew towards the east. Flame Rhinoceros' secret mandala hadn't recovered from the shock yet, but as a bird, he had the ability to fly, so he could fly away. To the east was the direction of the Great Shang Nation. The Blood Demon Church couldn't do as they pleased in the Great Shang Nation. Hence, to avoid being hunted down by the Blood Demon Church, temporarily returning to the Great Shang Nation was the best choice. As for where to go next after reaching the Shang dynasty, he could slowly think about it. Seeing the eagle owl fly up, Xia Ping also leaped into the air. He cast the illusion of the fire beacon toying with the feudal lords. In the eyes of outsiders, he also turned into an eagle owl and followed behind the flame rhinoceros, flying towards the east. Xia Ping had remained calm and collected when he stayed that day. Now, he was leaving without any hesitation. Although the people from the Blood Demon Church had left, to a place like Yushan City, new chaos and fights had just begun. In the wilderness to the east of Yushan City, the bloody fights and killings had become more intense. The items that the experts from the Blood Demon Church, who had been killed by Li Fire Lord of Heaven, had dropped from their interspatial equipment, had become the targets of these people. Just now, the sky was filled with countless gold coins. In the light of the fire, it was like a shining waterfall that poured down from the sky. Many people saw this scene, and there were even more people who wanted to take advantage of the situation and rushed over. Besides the gold coins, the experts from the Blood Demon Church definitely had other good items on them. Experts like Li Fire Lord of Heaven wouldn't be interested in those items. However, to many residents of Yushan City, those items were treasures that were worth fighting for with their lives. Such a fight was like a wild dog seeing a bone falling from the sky. It was also like a hungry crocodile seeing fresh meat falling into a pool. The fugitives in Yushan City, the wandering demon wolf warriors, demon wolf sorcerers, the gang members, the rogue summoners who wanted to make a fortune, all rushed over. "This is mine." A Tauren threw away the huge axe in his hand and picked up a large amount of gold coins from the ground in ecstasy. Before he could put the gold coins into his pocket, a demon wolf warrior had already rushed over from the side and stabbed his blade into the Tauren's lower abdomen. The demon wolf warrior was very ruthless. The knife that was stabbed into the bull-headed man's abdomen was pulled upwards, causing the wound to widen by more than 10 times. It went from the bull-headed man's abdomen to the bull-headed man's chest. The bull-headed man screamed in pain. Fresh blood and intestines spurted out from the wound, following which the demon wolf warrior kicked him in the abdomen and he fell on his back. After killing the bull-headed man, the demon wolf warrior quickly picked up the hundreds of gold coins that were scattered on the ground. He even picked up the soil and grass on the ground along with the gold coins and kept them in his arms. At this moment, he didn't have the time to pick up the gold coins carefully. Anyway, he didn't care what the shiny items on the ground were. He just had to grab them first. In the surrounding few square kilometers of wilderness, forests and valleys, there were sounds of killing and fighting everywhere. In the few days that the Blood Demon Church had been in Yushan City, hundreds of people had died in Yushan City. As for the items that the experts of the Blood Demon Church had killed and dropped from the sky, the number of deaths had already exceeded a few hundred. Some of the people who rushed here first were smart. After finding some benefits, they immediately left this place. As for the greedy ones, they wanted to continue searching. Soon, they were dragged into the fighting and killing behind and died an unnatural death. There was also a continuous stream of people running out of Yushan City to participate in the fighting here. There weren't many summoners who had spatial equipment. That was the high-level equipment of summoners. Those who didn't had spatial equipment in their arms and arms. When others saw them, they would immediately snatch them. From the moment someone started to attack to the moment someone started to kill, it only took a short while. After killing the Tauren, the demon wolf warrior quickly picked up the gold coins on the ground and found that the Tauren was still holding a few gold coins in his hand. Without saying anything, he chopped off the Tauren's thick palm and spread open the Tauren's fingers to collect the remaining gold coins. After doing all this, the demon wolf warrior saw that the killing in the distance was a little fierce. He was a little scared and turned to leave. However, just as he ran a few steps, the demon wolf warrior's sharp eyes saw something shining in the bushes on the ground beside him. The demon wolf warrior scooped up the thing from the bushes with one hand. It was a boundary pearl that was shining with yellow light. "I'm rich." The demon wolf warrior was overjoyed. Just as he was about to run away with the boundary pearl, a fireball suddenly came from the side and turned the demon wolf warrior into a torch. The demon wolf warrior screamed and jumped away. Before he could take a few steps, an icicle flew over and nailed the demon wolf warrior to the ground. "Are you the one who should take this thing?" A cold-looking summoner flashed out from the side and grabbed the boundary pearl that the demon wolf warrior dropped on the ground. His face was filled with joy. Seeing a group of summoners, Naga mages, and magic wolf mages fighting over something in the valley not far away, this summoner with a gloomy expression shrunk his head and didn't dare to be greedy. He immediately ran away after snatching the realm pearl. The summoners and Naga sorcerers were fighting over a few bronze mirrors. The bronze mirrors were diamond-shaped. The two ends were slightly longer and the middle was slightly narrower. It was like an eye, and the entire bronze mirror was shining with a strange light. This bronze mirror was the magic artifact that the Blood Demon Church used to search for Xia Pingan in Yushan City. It was the reflection mirror. This magic artifact was very rare and could see through all disguises and transformations. Its value was huge and was far above the rare boundary pearl. The initial estimate was at least 100,000 gold coins. The two Blood Demon Church members were very careful when using it. One could imagine how precious it was. Hence, the fight over it was the most intense. There were 4 such artifacts that had exploded in the sky. One of them had already been obtained by a summoner who quickly fled with it. There were still 3 more artifacts here. A large group of experts were fighting over them, and the battle was also the most intense. After summoning an assassin to kill a magic wolf sorcerer, a human summoner snatched a reflection mirror and leaped into the air without a second thought, quickly fleeing into the distance. Leave the magic artifact behind. A large group of summoners, Naga sorcerers and demon wolf sorcerers chased after him with red eyes. All sorts of firework attacks were thrown at the summoner who was about to escape. More than half of the attacks landed on the summoner's body. The summoner's body dissipated like smoke. Not good, it's an illusion. The moment the illusion dissipated, the summoner who snatched the magic artifact was already 700 to 800 meters away. He was flying towards the mountains outside Yushan City and was about to leave the battlefield. Just as the summoner flew over a forest, a black smoke shot out from the forest like an arrow and directly hit the summoner. The summoner who snatched the magic artifact screamed in pain and fell from the sky, rolling onto the mountain top. Seeing the group of summoners, the Naga sorcerer and the demon wolf sorcerer charging at them with bloodshot eyes, the summoner who had fallen on the hillside already had a dark expression on his face. Black blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. He looked at the reflection mirror in his hand. Although he was unwilling to give up, he still gritted his teeth and threw the reflection mirror with all his might. He threw the reflection mirror into the bottomless valley below and quickly escaped in another direction. They didn't care about the summoner who had left the battlefield. Everyone rushed towards the deep valley and started fighting on the way. In the deep valley, there was a thick fog and dense vegetation. The magic artifact that fell into the valley disappeared in the fog in the blink of an eye. Xia Pingan and Flaming Rhinoceros also noticed that there were many people fighting over the items that fell from the sky in the east of Yushan City. The two of them avoided the battlefield and flew out of Yushan City through a deep valley. Then, a magic artifact suddenly fell from the sky and landed in the forest in front of them. Flaming Rhinoceros and Xia Pingan coincidentally flashed past the forest above the magic artifact. The magic artifact that was originally calm suddenly blinked like an open eye. Chapter 361. A few minutes after Xia Pingan and the Flame Rhinoceros flew past the reflection mirror, 5 summoners, 2 Naga mages, and 3 magic wolf mages flew down from the top of the valley. They flew into the dense thicket and quickly started searching. After searching for 5 or 6 minutes, one of the Naga mages suddenly saw the reflection mirror. The reflection mirror was hidden in the thicket. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't have noticed it. The Naga sorcerer didn't say a word. When he flew past the Dharma artifact, he swung his tail and stuck it to the Dharma artifact. Then, He put the reflection mirror Dharma artifact into his close-fitting Dharma robe. Nothing out of the ordinary could be seen from his appearance. He continued to pretend to be searching. A few minutes later, where's the reflection mirror? It was thrown down from above. It should be nearby. A summoner muttered as he searched. At the same time, he was on guard against the mages around him. It should be nearby. Did someone pick it up? A magic wolf mage roared, revealing his white teeth. He scanned the surroundings of the valley with his sharp eyes. The valley was foggy and it was night time, so visibility was poor. Earlier, when everyone was fighting above, they didn't immediately rush down. Therefore, they weren't sure if the reflection mirror had been picked up by someone else. The eyes of the Naga mage who had picked up the reflection mirror spun strangely. After flicking his tongue, he suddenly said, "If someone was hiding in the valley, then the item thrown down from above might have been picked up by someone else. It's best if we split up and search. See if there's anyone else in the valley. If we continue to delay here, then the person who picked up the reflection mirror might have already left the valley." When the mages heard this, they felt that the Naga mage's words made sense. The magic wolf mage roared angrily. He looked in the direction of the valley, and was about to give chase. However, a lean human summoner narrowed his eyes and stared at the Naga mage. He suddenly sneered. "Wait, it's also possible that someone among us has already picked up the reflection mirror, but secretly hid it and continued to pretend to look for it. That's why the reflection mirror suddenly disappeared. The person who picked up the reflection mirror must be thinking of a way to sneak away without arousing suspicion. It's best if he pretends to look for someone else and then runs away." Hearing this, the magic wolf mage who had just taken a few steps forward suddenly stopped. He turned around and stared at the Naga mage who had picked up the reflection mirror. The other two who were about to leave also stopped in their tracks and stared at the Naga mage. The Naga mage took a step back. He held his snake bone staff and looked at the lean human summoner with a dangerous gaze. He immediately turned the tables and said with a fierce expression, "You want to frame me? This valley is so deep and hidden. Even if someone was hiding in this valley, it wouldn't be so coincidental that they would be hiding near the reflection mirror. Although we were delayed for a while, we still came down very quickly. Even if someone was really hiding in this valley, that person might not have been faster than us, let alone leaving. Therefore, the most likely possibility is that the reflection mirror wasn't picked up by someone hiding in this valley, and it wouldn't have disappeared for no reason. Instead, it was picked up by one of us. I wasn't sure if it was you if you didn't speak, but now that you spoke, I knew that it was most likely you who picked up the reflection mirror," the skinny human summoner shrewdly analyzed. He then took a step forward and glanced at the Naga mage with greedy eyes. He threatened, "Hand over the magic tool. That magic tool isn't something you can take for yourself. If you want to take it for yourself, you'll have to see if you still have the life to live." The other summoners and magic wolf mages surrounded the Naga mage with unfriendly looks. Another Naga mage hesitated. He didn't know whether he should stand in front of his own kind or force the Naga mage to hand over the reflection mirror. The Naga mage who had picked up the reflection mirror was about to say something when his expression suddenly changed. He started to tremble violently. The summoners and magic wolf mages who had just surrounded him thought that the Naga mage was going to use some secret spell. They were startled and hurriedly took a few steps back. However, the trembling Naga mage didn't cast any spells. Instead, his body trembled more and more violently, and an expression of extreme pain appeared on his face. His eyes widened in horror and his mouth gaped open. The staff in his hand had already fallen to the ground. He grabbed his neck and throat with both hands, trying to make a sound, but no sound came out. Trying to force us to retreat with such a petty trick? Too naive." The lean human summoner sneered, and took 2 more steps forward. Then, the human summoner saw the scales on the trembling Naga mage start to fall off one by one. His originally lustrous eyes turned ash-gray in an instant, and his skin shriveled. His entire body was like a deflated balloon, or a dried radish exposed to the sun, rapidly shrinking after losing its moisture. Boom! The body descended in the blink of an eye. When it had shrunk to half its original size, it suddenly exploded and turned into a tumbling blood-red mist. Behind the blood-red mist was the reflection mirror. It was floating in the air, emitting a strange blood-red light. It was like an open blood-red eye that was staring at everyone present. What is this thing? The surrounding summoners and magic wolf mages were all stunned by this sudden turn of events. However, before they could react, the blood-red mist suddenly turned into 9 rays of blood-red light and shot towards the summoners and mages. The summoners were unable to resist, and were entangled by the 9 rays of blood-red light. Then, the 9 bodies instantly shriveled and exploded, turning into balls of blood-red light, just like the Naga mage from before. The copper mirror floating in the air instantly absorbed the bloody light. Following that, the copper mirror suddenly exploded, turning into hundreds of diamond-shaped fragments. The diamond-shaped fragments floated in the air and connected together, forming the shape of a door. In the next second, Zhu Matian, the hierarch of the Blood Demon sect, whose hair and beard were all blood-red and had a vertical eye between his eyebrows, stepped out of the bloody portal, his demonic aura soaring to the sky. Just a few minutes before Zhu Matian stepped out of the copper mirror portal, Xia Pingon and the flame rhinoceros had already flown out of the valley and away from the battlefield outside Yushan City. Outside the valley was a winding mountain road leading to the Shang Kingdom. On the road, a black 4-wheeled carriage with a lantern was parked by the side of the road. One of the wheels of the carriage was stuck in a hole on the road. For a moment, the carriage couldn't move. Such a carriage wouldn't have attracted Xia Pingon's attention. However, just as Xia Pingon's gaze swept across the carriage, he saw a familiar face standing beside it. Jing Yuxing, Elder Jing. This was Xia Pingon's roommate when he first arrived in Shangjing City. The two of them had taken the same boat to Shangjing City and spent half a month together on the boat. Xia Pingon had benefited greatly from this. Jing Yuxing opened a small bookstore in Shangjing City and stood aloof from worldly affairs. When Xia Pingon was in Shangjing City, he took the time to visit Jing Yuxing once and drank tea with him in the bookstore, but that was it. Elder Jing stood beside the carriage that was stuck in the ground and looked helplessly at the coachman who was trying to pull the carriage out of the hole. However, no matter how hard the coachman and the 2 horses pulled the carriage, the wheels were still a distance away from being pulled out of the hole. Why was Elder Jing in Yushan City? It wasn't peaceful outside Yushan City. If a carriage was stuck here in the middle of the night, the people below would be in danger if there were bandits or criminals. A strange thought arose in Xia Pingon's mind, but he didn't delay. He called Yan Shi, and Xia Pingon withdrew the illusion. His whole body directly fell from the sky, and landed near the carriage's headlights, just enough to let Jing Lao and the coachman see his face. Seeing Xia Pingon descending from the sky, the coachman, who was directing the horses to pull the carriage out of the hole, was shocked. However, Elder Jing was calm and didn't make a fuss. He even smiled and said to the coachman, "Look, someone is here to help. Sir, is there a problem with your carriage?" Xia Pingon said as he walked towards them with a smile. Before the coachman and Elder Jing opened their mouths, Xia Pingon had already come to one side of the carriage and put one hand on the bottom of the carriage. Closely after that, the heavy carriage chassis and carriage were lifted up by Xia Pingon. Closely after that, the wheels of the carriage left the pit. "Old mister, the carriage is fine now. We can leave now." Xia Pingon smiled and said to Elder Jing, "Thank you, thank you." Elder Jing looked at the sky and stroked his beard. He then said to Xia Pingon directly, "It's late now and the mountain road is not peaceful. Our carriage has been stuck here for too long. I'm a bit worried on the way. I see that you are very capable. Can you escort me for a while and accompany me along the way? Jing Yuxing's request was a bit unreasonable. However, it was reasonable at this moment. That's good. It just so happens that I'm going the same way as old Mister, so I'll have to bother old Mister. Xia Pingan waved his hand, and the flame rhinoceros transformed into an eagle owl landed on his shoulder. The coachman opened the door of the carriage and let the two of them in. After that, he closed the door and continued to drive the carriage at a moderate speed. The carriage was very spacious and elegant. Besides the sofa at the back, there were also a table, a bar and a small bookcase. This carriage was a bit like a station wagon, which was a magical tool for long-distance travel in this world. Recently, Secluded Mountain has not been peaceful. Why did old Mister take a carriage to Secluded Mountain alone? Xia Pingan sat in the carriage and asked. I came to Yushan Mountain to see an old friend. Elder Jing smiled and looked at Xia Pingan with a genial look. Have you seen your old friend? Of course. That day, I arrived at Shangjing City with my old friend by boat. Today, I left Yushan Mountain with my old friend by carriage. This is fate. Rivers and mountains are easy to change. My old friend is safe and sound. Not bad, not bad. This is also a great pleasure in life. After hearing Elder Jing's words, Xia Pingan was shocked. However, before Xia Pingan opened his mouth, the fiery rhinoceros who had turned into an eagle owl had instantly turned into a human figure with a bang. Closely after that, it put a sharp dagger against Elder Jing's neck as it glared at Elder Jing ferociously. Old thing, I don't think you're an ordinary person. You must be setting a trap for us when the carriage got stuck on the road. Tell me, what's your purpose? If you dare to play tricks, be careful that I will stab some holes in your neck. She didn't know the past between Elder Jing and Xia Pingan. He just felt that this old B***starred was too suspicious. Don't be rude. Xia Pingan hurriedly stopped him. Elder Jing smiled and flicked his finger. With a bang, the fiery rhinoceros that had just turned into a human turned back into a dumb frog. It landed on the table in the carriage, and looked up blankly at Xia Pingan and Elder Jing, who had suddenly become tall and big in the carriage. She didn't understand what was going on. He wanted to open his mouth, however, he just croaked twice. After that, she became stunned. Elder Jing reached out his hand and took out a blue-colored glass lamp from the carriage. He flipped the lamp cover over and covered the flame rhinoceros, who had turned into a frog on the table with the lamp cover. It couldn't even jump up. Chapter 362. Currently, Xia Pingan only knew how to seal pigs, rabbits, and vultures. He did not include frogs. Seeing how Elder Jing turned the flame rhinoceros from a human into a frog with a snap of his fingers, Xia Pingan knew that Elder Jing was not an ordinary person even if he was stupid. Elder Jing's strength was probably beyond his imagination. His encounter with Elder Jing today was not a coincidence. What's more, Xia Pingan was not stupid. Seeing Elder Jing smiling at him, Xia Pingan didn't hesitate anymore. He took off the Rui mask on his face and revealed his true face. Xia Pingan greets Elder Jing. Xia Pingan bowed to Elder Jing and smiled bitterly. I have embarrassed myself in front of you again. I did not mean to hide it from you. It is just that I cannot even protect myself now. I have just escaped from the Blood Demon Church, and I am afraid that I will implicate Elder Jing. Hence, I have no choice but to hide my identity. Please forgive me. Elder Jing smiled and nodded his head. It's not easy for you either. You were able to get out of that deadly situation in Shangjing City with ease. You almost got out of that deadly situation in Yushan City as well. Even the Lord of Golden Moon Hall of the Blood Demon sect was played by you. If it were anyone else, they would have died more than once. Almost. Xia Pingan was stunned and couldn't believe it. You mean I haven't escaped from the Blood Demon Church? Zhu Matian is already a demigod. If he wants to find you, you won't be able to escape no matter how smart you are or how many tricks you have up your sleeve. He'll definitely find you. It's not your fault. The gap between demigods and demigods is unimaginable to you, what? Zhu Matian found me? Xia Pingan was shocked. As soon as he finished his sentence, he found that the entire sky within 500 kilometers suddenly turned red. A bloody sky curtain, like a shock wave, swept across the sky at a terrifying speed and covered the entire sky. Not only that, Xia Pingan also realized that the carriage he was in had turned around. It was no longer heading towards the east of Yushan City, but towards the north of Yushan City. The carriage was heading in the direction of Yushan City. Through the window of the carriage, Xia Pingan raised his head and saw that in the sky above the deep valley that he and the flame rhinoceros had just flown past, there was a blood-red pillar of light connecting the sky to the ground. Within the pillar of light, there was a human silhouette that was emitting a demonic aura. The blood-red canopy that engulfed the heavens, with that human silhouette as the center, was spreading out in all directions at a terrifying speed. In the blink of an eye, it had enveloped the entire Yushan City and the land within 1,000 miles of Yushan City. That figure was none other than Zhu Matian, who had almost turned Shangjing City upside down. How could Zhu Matian suddenly appear in Yushan City? How did he discover her? Also, why was the carriage heading towards the north? Xia Pingan's mind went blank. Don't worry. Zhu Matian can't find you in the carriage, nor can he do anything to you. Elder Jing said softly. Xia Pingan swallowed his saliva and calmed himself down. Elder Jing, I've always been very careful and never revealed myself. How did Zhu Matian find me and appear in Yushan City? Elder Jing smiled and took out a diamond-shaped reflection mirror. Do you remember this? Xia Pingan stared at the reflection mirror. This should be the celestial device that the blood demon sect used to find me. It can see through all disguises and transformations. Yes, this is the celestial device that the blood demon sect used to find you. But do you know where it came from? Did Zhu Matian take it out? Zhu Matian took it out, but it's not as simple as a celestial device. Zhu Matian put in a lot of effort to find you. As long as you pass by it, it will immediately detect you. At the same time, Zhu Matian will also sense that this celestial device has other hidden functions. It's to allow Zhu Matian to find you as soon as possible and capture you as a blood sacrifice. But I didn't touch it. Elder Jing shook his head. No, you did. But you didn't know that a celestial device, the reflection mirror, fell from the top of the valley and fell into the bushes. You happened to fly over the bushes and were illuminated by the celestial device. That's why your whereabouts were exposed. That's why Zhu Matian was able to come here quickly. You just didn't know. Xia Pingan was dumbstruck. No matter how much he calculated, he never thought that he would be exposed like this. He had only flown over a hidden and deep valley. He never thought that he would be exposed like this. It was simply unbelievable. How can there be such a coincidence in the world? Did I run out of luck? It looks like a coincidence, but it's not. It's not your luck either. It's Zhu Matian's wish. Zhu Matian's wish. Zhu Matian took out these celestial devices to find you. So, no matter how you hide, no matter how smart you are, as long as you're alive and your realm is not higher than his, you'll definitely be seen by these celestial devices at least once. Elder Jing explained to Xia Pingan, who was stunned. It may be hard for you to understand, but think about it. Don't many ordinary people pray and pray to God to fulfill their wishes? Yes. Zhu Matian is already in the demigod realm. This realm is mysterious and unpredictable. He's already touched the peak of the great Tao. Many things that a demigod wants will appear in the real world. If he wants to illuminate you with the celestial device of the reflection mirror, you'll definitely be seen by the mirror. It may seem like a coincidence, but it's inevitable. Do you mean a demigod can get whatever he wants? Something like that, but it's not as simple as you think. It's easy for a demigod to get whatever he wants, but some things aren't that easy. Elder Jing suddenly looked up at the sky and sighed softly. This Zhu Matian is ruthless. Up in the sky, Zhu Matian was about to go crazy. In just a short while, when he flew into the air and used his divine sense to search, Xia Pingon had already disappeared without a trace. Even if Xia Pingon was in the Nine Suns realm, he couldn't have escaped from the range of his consciousness in such a short time. Yet, Xia Pingon had disappeared right under his nose. Zhu Matian went all out. He used the blood demon barrier to isolate the ground within 1,000 miles. He believed that Xia Pingon was still in this area. Under the cover of the blood demon barrier, even an insect or a Nine-Sun realm expert would not be able to escape, let alone Xia Pingon. Then, Zhu Matian's divine kingdom descended on Serene Mountain. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.